Hello, everyone, and we are live. We are back again. Hope you guys are okay. I will just be making sure everything's fine. Can you hear me? Is that okay? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hi, Pinup. Welcome to the show. No, it's a live stream in English. Hello, Torsten. Can you guys hear me? I will just wait. Be waiting until someone confirms. Okay, great. So yeah, welcome back to the second live stream. It's pretty amazing what happened. I think almost 1,000 people. Oh, thank you, Laliti. Great, uh, fantastic. I think almost 1,000 people were like catching up our first live stream, which was aired on my channel 2 weeks ago. So thank you very much. It's been a success. A lot of people joined the channel. A lot of people were very friendly, commenting, and were asking for more. So here we are, second live stream. It's Easter weekend, so I don't know how it feels. Maybe a lot of people have like Easter Sunday are probably not available. So I decided to do this stream right now. So let's see how people join. And yeah, for the second live stream, I had the pleasure to welcome a friend of mine. You already had a chance to talk to him or to see him face during the first live stream I aired 2 weeks ago. This is Fred. Fred has two channels. He's been living in Australia for I think 20 years. His first channel is Big Star 1000 in English, and he recently started a channel in French. And we didn't have a lot of connection, I would say, but the VC is a small word, so to say. So yeah, we exchange. I stumble upon a few of his videos, and it's I have to admit it's very interesting the exchange we've been having since. So I will be welcoming Fred.
Hello,
Hello.
everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Just in case, because usually this laptop, the microphone can be a bit dodgy and stuff. It's you know, if people in the chat let me know they can hear me as well, that would be good. It's nice to see you, Romuald.
Nice to
Nice
see you,
to
Fred.
chat with you. It's 7 o'clock in the morning here. It's just
Yeah, it's
is
pretty
everyone.
amazing. Yeah, you have two French people, one living in Canada. It's 4 p.m. right now, and for you it's Saturday morning. It's how
I'm
much
not.
how much time difference do we have? 18 hours.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like an older version of you, like I'm from the future.
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you should
S-
have. Yeah, no. Nice to be here. I did your live the first time, and I mean I don't do many lives and stuff, but live
I know.
streams. But it's nice to yeah to do sometimes, to just interact with the community. I might turn on the live stream on my phone so I can see the comments, because I can't see the comments there at all. And it's nice to actually see what people say and have a.
Yeah,
And
currently we have like 5 people watching. We
yeah,
have Pinup, Pinup. Yeah.
I've got the comments as well, which is good. Yeah, no, hello Pinup. Yeah, we've both been on a live with Pinup.
Yeah.
So so many interesting guests on that live show with Pinup. He's growing. That's great. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a nice guy, and he's got a passion. He's young. He's passionate about
Yeah.
music, which is good, and he's interested in knowing more, which is also good, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's that's is there a theme for the day, or are we just
No,
chit
it's a
chat?
it's yeah, it's a chit chat. I was asking for more people if they want to come. So yeah, but it's as I said, it's Easter, so
yeah,
maybe two people from, yeah, we'll see. Maybe they will be joining us a little bit later. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but I see Pinap said, Is it French?" Sadly, not. Désolé, Pinap.
no,
Um,
désolé.
I mean, I think I'm planning to do one in French maybe during these holidays. One of these days, I'll do a one on my French channel, but
Yeah,
just because I found, I mean, with the little community we have with the the because the French vinyl community has got a lot of it does have a lot of people in it, but
hmm,
I only really interact with maybe 10 or 15 people. Like I don't know, I don't want to put a number to this, but I don't interact with that many people. But the people I interact with in the French vinyl community, the interactions I find are very meaningful. They're very sort of we have some very interesting conversations, and um, yeah, it's quite good, I think. Because it's also smaller. It's more easy to be, I don't know, to expand on certain things. With the English
international,
speaking, yeah,
international. Yeah,
yeah, international or English speaking, but there's so many people that you know sometimes it's a bit hard to keep up with everything. But that's what that's. But I don't know. Has it been your experience as well?
pretty good, pretty good. I started the channel 1 year ago, so I decided to start a channel 1.5 year ago. I moved to Canada 2 years ago, and I had this idea in mind. But I was watching a lot of channels. I was collecting vinyls, and I was afraid because now I'm living in Canada, so I didn't want to do the channel in French because I'm not in French technically, so to say. And I have a lot of friends in UK and Germany. I already exchanged music with about music with, and I wanted my channel to be international. And I was afraid because the vinyl community has already been established. You already have a lot of families of clan of group people, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I already have a lot of great connection with the French VC. As you know, I was invited. Monsieur Vinyl devoted an interview to me. Vinyl show, a great gang of guys. They will inviting me as well. I often participate with the German vinyl community, weil ich kann
Yeah,
auch Deutsch sprechen. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen you because
Yeah.
I watched those, and I mean, yeah, my German's probably not as good as yours because you've lived there for in Switzerland, or
No, I was born and I grew up very close to the border with
yeah,
Switzerland
yeah,
and Germany, and I worked in Switzerland in the German-speaking part. So
yeah.
it's
Well,
yeah,
although you could dispute how much German they actually speak in Switzerland. It's a different type of German. I've had some very interesting experiences because I speak German, but mine is learned from I
school
mean,
basis. Yeah,
well, not school. What happened was I learned German at school when I was a teenager, and but then for 20 years I didn't do any, and then I relearned everything. I actually schooled myself back, and I relearned absolutely everything to the point where, well, I'm much better now than I ever was when I was 18 years old. Like I can speak pretty fairly fluently, but I'm not as good as you are. I think in the sense that I've never lived there, or I don't have that kind of
yeah, yeah,
you know ease of like I when I go to Germany I speak to everyone, but it's I find, and so I thought maybe I was sort of toying with the idea of doing a a German channel just for the practice, just for the
yeah,
talking,
yeah,
but I thought, three channels, it's a bit too much to service, like, two channels is already, like every time I post videos on the French and the English channel, it takes me forever to answer all the, like, even like if I get, I don't know, 30, 40 comments. That's a lot of responding. Like, like because yeah, you want to be meaningful as well. You want to write
Mm,
things. You don't want to say, "Hey, thank you," or
yeah.
like you want to write something back that's interesting. So I think probably not. 3 channels is too many.
So I
But I've
wasn't
seen,
I wasn't
I've
even
seen,
joking last day when I was writing, "Hey, I haven't found your German
yeah,
channel." I was joking, but you
yeah.
actually had this project in mind, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just love German in general. Like I just love the language. I think
yeah,
that's it to me. I love this, but you could say equally I love learning German. They're just different things. In my life that keep me occupied in the head.
yeah,
But I mean, it's just another thing. And I think it's a really good thing as well. In terms of using your memory, using your mind, using your some bits of your head that you would not normally use. At work where I'm a teacher. Obviously, I mean people
yeah.
follow me know this, but I have one of my colleagues is German, so we speak German not every day, but most of the time.
What do
So
you, if I may ask, what are you are teacher? What do you teach? Do you teach
I teach
French?
French. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and I taught
Oh,
German as well. Like I did teach German before at my last school. We don't
okay.
teach German at my school at my new school.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, that's right. It's more or less been my job for a long time now, more than 20 years. Um, but yeah, I've seen you on the German live streams a few times, like
yeah,
because sometimes you post that you're there or you've been there or something, and I'll be watching a little bit. Um, and I did like sometimes because of the learning of German, I also listen to podcasts in German. So I listen to some of the vinyl podcasts that are available in German, like Was mit Rock und Vinyl, and there's
mhm.
um, um, what's the other one? I can't remember. There's like 2 or 3 of them that I'm subscribed to, and so in one of them, I heard you speak in like you. It was when they did the questions,
The tag, the tag. Yeah,
the tag, yeah, yeah, that's right.
yeah.
And you were a guest there, and I listened to it on the train going to work one day. Yeah, so yeah, so in other words, I've heard and seen you a couple of times on those. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
long
the
story
vinyl.
short.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Mm,
yeah, German is a language. To be honest, when I moved to Canada, I said, okay, now I maybe won't have the same opportunities to practice my German. And there is a small group of German people in Montreal, and they gather once a month.
yeah.
But I don't always have the time. And I say, hey, I'm in the vinyl community. There is a vinyl community in Germany. So I tried, or I started to have some to make the contact, and now I
Mm,
have good friends, and Timo from the channel Vinyl und, he's the one, he hosts this year tag, and he was very kind enough to say, hey, you can maybe submit your question. We will be doing a poll, and out of that we will be choosing 18 questions, and my question is part of the tag, the 24 tag. So it's
yeah, it was
cool.
something like what would you recommend? What German artist would you recommend to someone who doesn't? Yeah, was that your question? Was it
Uh,
yours? Yeah,
yeah, which 2024 records from a German artist or band
yeah,
would you
that's right.
recommend
Yeah,
to a
someone with that who,
non-German friend? Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That was. But um, what was I going to say? The only one I've had real sort of exchanges with is Toby, 33. Toby. He's like he's he's into soul and funk, and he makes these videos. I think it's called Vinyl Archaeology or something along those lines. His channel, so it's actually really good. It's um he just talks about like his favorite funk soul, and
yeah,
he's got also a bit of prog, which you like. I mean, you like him. He's very sort of like, yeah, I like his stuff. He's down to it. So I watch his videos, and sometimes I leave a comment here and there, but
yeah.
not
Yeah,
yeah,
to be honest, there are so many great channel in Germany, and you know what happened last or 2 weeks ago. It was very interesting. I know a lot of people from around the world, and we had one Germany, one Nadine, we had
Mm,
you, we had Stephen from
yeah.
California, and I think I will. This will be my concept in the future, gathering on my channel people from everywhere, finding a sort of common ground. And I know in Germany there are a lot of, for instance, Scheibenweise. For instance, he's a great channel, great knowledge about the Canterbury scene. For instance, across the borderline, very
Um,
Americana.
I did exchange with him in the early day, like
Yeah,
when he first started. I used to talk to him quite a bit, and I sort of, I sort of, you know, stops. But for some reason, I don't know, because we're busy and everything.
yeah,
But yeah, I liked his stuff as well. Yeah, 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 yeah. He's an older guy. He's
yeah,
probably like 60 or something. Yeah.
yeah. Erwin, his name.
Nothing,
Yeah,
yeah.
Erwin.
Mm.
Yeah, very very nice guy. And yeah, so to say, in Germany, so many channels in Canada. So I won't stay now. It's a chance to speak three languages. So
Yeah. No, but this is the
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
With French and German and English, we have basically access to so many different channels.
yeah,
It's like like that's the great thing about the because in France and in Germany there are lots and lots of different channels, and so it's great you have this kind of access where you just go, well, I understand what they're talking about, which is, I'm not just looking at pictures.
yeah.
I can and
Interact with, yeah,
which is the advantage compared as opposed to someone who just speaks English. But I mean, that's fine. There's still plenty to. If you just speak English, there's still plenty to actually explore.
yeah.
It's not
But
like you're limited. There's a ton there.
yeah, Spanish would be great. Spanish would be great as well.
Mm,
I don't speak Spanish, a little bit Italian, and yeah, very little bit. And Spanish, I think South America has a
mm.
great VC community, heavy
Yeah.
metal, and
I speak and understand Italian. My parents are from Italy.
really,
My parents are migrants from Italy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We come from the north of Italy, really. And but I don't really engage. I should really engage more with, but it's just too many things to keep up with. Again, like I have never really engaged with the Italian if there is one. I
yeah.
don't know. I'm not sure,
There
but
is a big channel called Vinilicamente, and he's
mm,
got like 50,000 subs.
okay.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never really,
yeah,
yeah. I see in the comments that Ed Topo said, "Hey, hello,
yeah,
Ed." You know, he's often seen on. I often see him on um, uh, Stanty's live stream. He appears there quite a bit. Um, and Mike Vinyl Spiral.
yeah.
Hello,
Hi, Mike.
Mike. And also we have John the Revelator, who have interacted with a little bit as well. And
Meteora. Salut,
Meteora,
salut,
Meteora
Meteora.
is a French YouTuber, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, excellent.
good friend of mine. He likes heavy stuff, alternative rock. Uh, yeah, he wants to discover a little bit more. We have an exchange. We have, we talk to each other behind the scene, and yeah, French vinyl community. There are always more and more channel.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but like it's it's interesting. What made you want to make videos in this at the start? Why did you? Is that because you always wanted to share the passion with everybody, or
Yeah,
what?
yeah. I think during the COVID, back in those days, I was still living in France, and I started to create not a Facebook, because I don't have Facebook, I don't have Twitter, I don't have anything like that. I was creating a sort of group in
Same
WhatsApp.
here.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I was recording my the finds that I made back in the days, and I was sharing with friends, with family, but it's like I had zero interest, zero. So I was maybe choosing the wrong audience, so to say. Then I moved to Canada. The first year dedicated, to settle. You know how it is. You had this experience, and after 1 year, I had a little bit more free spare times for myself. So I was trying to to find the good record store. I was starting to travel to the US because Vermont is very close. And then a lot of people say, hey, you should share your experience. You should share. Monsieur Vinyl, he say, hey, I will devote it. He made a video once and he say, I will be doing an interview with, I didn't even have a channel back then with myself. I used to have the old pseudonym account. And a lot of people say, hey, you should start a channel. You have a great experience. You started in France, you were traveling to the UK, you brought your entire collection here. So now you have your French perspective. How about starting something? And yeah, I was making up my mind and finally decided to jump. Uh, but I'm not the person I like to talk to myself. Since I say, okay, now I'll start a channel, but talking about me, who cares? So I just did like the others, saying what I like, doing videos about my collection, about my great stuff, sharing things, and try to be not popular, but connu, known, with people. This is how the whole thing started.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, for me, it's like I've said this many times on my on Big Star 1000 on my channel. But it's really all about being able to share things with people because, like, like you go and you find records that are exciting.
Yeah,
Um, you know, with whatever means you have, you go digging. You hear about something, whether it's on Bandcamp or it's an old treasure that you didn't know existed from 1972, or whatever it is.
yeah,
You dig it, you bring it home, and then you enjoy it and stuff. And but for me, there's something missing. I mean, I don't think it's complete for me until you can actually go, oh, here, everyone, look at this really great piece of music. You should try this, or you should listen to this because like, maybe you like it. I think that's the joy for me as well. It's kind of like a cycle,
yeah.
like hunting, listening, sharing. Like, it's kind of like you go in that sort of I think it's a really important. I don't know.
That should be the motto. That should be the motto. The how do you say that in English? The
Yeah, yeah, la devise, the motto. Yeah,
devise.
that's what you
Ouais,
said.
la
Yeah,
devise
yeah, yeah,
on the
that's what you
PC.
said. Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
should write these three words on a black T-shirt. It's
yeah. Hunting, gathering, hunting,
sharing,
gathering,
sharing.
sharing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it's true because like, what's the point of just being me, myself, and I, and like, yeah, I've got all, and I just sit in my room by myself. And the best times I have with those records are when I've got a good friend of mine who lives like 5 minutes down the road, um, who is a like a massive record nerd, like we are,
mm,
and he comes here, or we I go to his place, and we just do listening sessions. So he will bring like a pile of like 10, 15 records, and we'll try to follow each other. Like you say, oh, he's a British jazz record, so I'll go and find something that works with that, and we try to sort of like do a thread, of
yeah,
and that's the best fun. I mean, like, and we I'll make lunch or something, and we sit here, and it's that I love. I think that's the kind of connections that it's priceless. I mean, it's when you've got these kinds of moments where you can sit down with a friend and listen to a record and go, wow, that's amazing, and also the idea of hearing something with someone in context, and sometimes you hear things that you hadn't heard, like, oh yeah, that's, or just isolating a track, just go, wow, this track here is fantastic, listen to this. And no, I think it's what, and that's why I think what we do here is really worthwhile, because it virtually enables us to do these kinds of things where you get to share this experience with others, and you've got the comments and you interact. And I think that's, for me anyway, that's why I'm doing it. That's why I keep doing it. I go on and off. I have periods where I don't do it, like um, like sometimes I didn't post videos for an entire year, like nothing, zero, and
Okay.
then I reappear. But at the moment, I've got so many little different connections that are interesting. For me, it's an outlet. It's a creative thing.
You left France about 20 years ago, and
More
it's
than that, more than
more.
I was living in the UK for 5 years before I came
Yeah.
to Australia. So I've effectively lived overseas, or abroad, as we would say
Mhm.
in England, uh, longer than I've lived in France. Like
Wow.
I've now been outside of France for a longer period of time.
Yeah. And how did it change your relation with French music? Because when you change a country, you have sometimes ups and downs. And here in Montreal is a bit different. It's a French speaking part. We have a lot of French culture. So sometimes when we have a down,
How did you change my relation with French music? I've got two racks of records in front of me there, and I
yeah,
thought, I'll leave them. I'll leave them here, and it could be a little further for discussion, because we can talk and talk, but we can show records as well, because it's the vinyl community, isn't it? So we can talk about how did it change. How did it change my relation with French music? Well, I think when I lived in France, and I think it's probably the same for you. I'm prepared to bet that it's the same. It's exactly the same for you. When I lived in France, there was some French music that I liked, but then as I got away from France, I sort of started realizing a few things about French music as a whole, and I just I don't know if it's a mixture of nostalgia and
yeah,
a longing and something like but I did realize over the past 25 years that the music that was produced in France, say from 1965 to, no, even before that, 1955, we'll say,
yeah,
talk about Brassens and all this stuff,
yeah,
to
Ferret.
now there's such a huge variety of really, really, really exciting, interesting stuff. And I have a lot of French music, which maybe back then I didn't have quite as much. I mean, there were a few bands that I liked, French bands, but I used to think they were a bit, I don't know, a bit cheesy at times, like I just,
Yeah,
but now I can proudly say I love Etienne Dao, or things like that, which at the time I thought I would never own a record by these bands, but now it's kind of a turn of, turning the corner. What has it been for? Like, for example, here's an artist that when I lived in France, Christophe. For those of you who are not French, who don't know, Christophe started his career in the 1960s as a as a pop singer for young girls, basically Aline and all that. The hits he had in the 60s were very like prefab pop, sort of really kind of cringy stuff. Then, but then he in the 70s he reinvented himself entirely as a really serious artist, because he was
yeah.
very clever and very, very good songwriter. And he teamed up with even Jean-Michel Jarre,
Les
who
mots
wrote the
bleus,
lyrics
les mots
of
bleus.
songs. But I've got all of his albums. I've got, all the albums from the 70s period. I've got a lot of his singles, and I freaking love him. I think he's a genius. He's, like I put him on the same level as people like Gérard Manset or
Yeah,
Gainsbourg, or not quite Gainsbourg, because for me he's my idol, really, but
yeah,
people like also Nino Ferrer. Like there's a lot of really, really interesting. Like years and years and years ago, I made on my channel this video on the. It was like a gimme 10 French progressive pop. That's what I call this at the time. It's very much progressive pop. It's pop with a really sort of like forward thinking kind of like angle. And like if I don't know if you've ever heard albums like Metronymie by Nino
Nino
Ferrer.
Ferrer, yeah. Oh,
I
yeah,
think you would if
yeah.
you've never heard it. I think you would really love this. It's I've got all these records and I just sometimes pull them out and go, this is amazing. This the quality of the stuff that French produce. But like also, I was going to say, I mean, you know, like how can you not? Like this is what I've got in my crate here. Obviously, I could pull out like hundreds of French records, but how could you not love this? Stuff by Leo Ferré. It's just it's such vital music. It's essential stuff, really. Um, a true poet, really. I mean, and that's the thing. That's the difference, I think, with between um, you know singer songwriter in France. I guess a lot of them, the level of language that they're producing was so far beyond what our, what we come to expect. I mean, like I think of Bob Dylan, for example, in the English language being this kind of. But when I listen to Ferré or stuff by Georges Brassens, the how literate these people were it's I find it unbelievable the, the how they could fit language into song format is just it's I find mind blowing. Anyway,
Yeah.
you asked me the question. I think moving to other countries has strengthened my love for French music. Definitely, 100%. I would
Yeah.
say. What has it been for you?
Yeah, the same. I when I was kid, I was very crazy about Michel Polnareff when I was 10 years old. And yeah, since I moved to Canada, it's funny because I'm surprising myself trying to find great stuff over here, which is perfect because Quebec, French speaking part, you have a Franco section, so local Quebec artists are displayed alongside with French people. So yeah, we can easily find Nougaro, Barbara, all that stuffs, and yeah. So Moncey, you were talking about Gérard Moncey, which is yeah, absolutely beautiful, and wouldn't say I'm a freak of French music, but certain artists, yeah, or Brel, for instance, the last album he made with Les Marquises at the end, Mourir n'est pas de mise aux marquises, or Gémir n'est pas de mise aux marquises. It's give me goosebumps every time. Yeah,
Yeah, and there's even that on that album. There's even that Brazilian tune which is amazing. There's a on the Blue album,
yeah,
the last
with,
one.
with
There's
the
a
clouds, with the
Brazilian
blue.
kind of
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
There's a Brazilian infused tune on it on side A, which I think it's just really amazing. Like it just doesn't fit there, but yeah. I mean Brel is a monument, really. Like, but he's not. He's in French. Let's let's
It's
be
from
serious.
Belgium. Yeah, it's from
Yeah,
Belgium. Yeah,
he's not
yeah,
French. I mean, we'd like to claim him. It's like here in Australia, where when anyone good from New Zealand comes to Australia, we claim them as Australian. like like Crowded House. They're clearly from New Zealand, but they're Australian. But it's the same with France. Anytime there's anything that's remotely good that speaks French, it's French. which
yeah,
is
yeah.
we just claim them.
Yeah, they have a great local scene in Brussels, in Belgium, but a lot of people went to Paris, especially in the 50s, because this was the place to be. I think Saint-Germain-des-Prés or
Of course.
yeah, it was amazing. And how about Serge Gainsbourg? Do you like Serge Gainsbourg?
Oh, he's my absolute hero. I said I was saying that before.
Mm,
Gainsbourg for me is like he's on a pedestal, of my favorite artists.
yeah,
Certainly because like what I love about Gainsbourg is obviously how intricate his lyrics were, and how he could, again, his play on words, and
Yeah.
his ability to fit, like, I can think of tons of examples. I don't know if you know the album, um
Le Motet de Chou.
No Matter de Chou, yeah, exactly. I don't know
Yeah.
how you came across that. You just went, yeah. I was thinking,
Mm.
what's the name of the album? Yeah, Le Matter de Chou. Like, there's songs on there where you just think, oh my god, that I think it's Variation sur Marelo,
Hmm.
where he's just, the wordplay is so extraordinary. You just listen
Yeah.
to it.
There is a song called L'An Amour. Uh,
L'Amour is not,
um,
yeah, yeah, but
it's not on
it's
that
not
one.
the Chou,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, I mean, there's this combination of really sort of like very, very literate kind of mindset with a desire to, not just make French pop music, or French chanson, but he expanded. He tried everything. He tried reggae. He tried
Yeah.
funk. He tried, like, every time there was something that was a little bit popular or cool, he was trying to. I think, to me, is the artist that is most like in the English speaking realm is David Bowie. I think it's because Bowie as well tried so many sort of
Yeah.
styles of music successfully, and I think Gainsbourg is to France what Bowie was
Yeah.
to
This
UK
is
music.
this is exactly what I was about to say. I recently watched an old report, Radio Vinyl, and the two guys from the UK, the Herbalife.
Yeah,
They were participating in a show. They had to select vinyl record to play it, and this is exactly what they said about Gainsbourg. This is back in the days. Their French friends, their parents, they were listening to Gainsbourg, and they consider as a French David Bowie, since he's mainstream and on the beach of the underground, always keen to explore different aspect. Yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
exactly what it
yeah,
is. I mean, and yeah, cargo. I see Ed Topo. Cargo Cult is a masterpiece of a song. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the lyrics, gosh, it just I mean, I think for me, like, I've said this many times on my channel, but Histoire de Melody Innocence is, for me, is, if I had to choose a favorite album of mine, that would be it.
yeah,
Because I've listened to it so many times, and it is perfectly, like, it's a package that's only 28 minutes long, so it's not very long, but in 28 minutes it says everything that, like, everything is there. It's, as I said, it's literate. It's got some very good, funky, proggy grooves. The band is amazing. You've got this rock band, and then you've got this orchestra and this choir.
yeah,
It's freaking amazing. I mean, but you can see the talent of Jean-Claude Vanier as well. Who arranged this thing. I mean, equally, you could see that Vanier on that one is, he contributes 50% of of the whole, and he's amazing. I don't know if you've ever heard the Reverse Project, which is L'Enfant Assassin des Mouches.
never. No, no, not familiar.
It's the Jean-Claude Vanier album,
Okay.
um, which is music concrete, and really sort of like, it's fucking crazy. With lyric, well, the lyrics, but there's no lyrics on it, but the concept and the ideas were written by Gainsbourg, so it's kind of the reverse thing. I've got it here on my shelf. I'll show you what it looks like.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Gainsbourg was a very important artist. His career span over almost four decades. Uh, he was with Julie Greco.
l'enfant
Yeah. Yeah.
l'enfant assassin des mouches. That's
Okay. What year came this album out? What?
um, that's from 1972. Yeah,
Okay.
and so the lyrics, you see
Hold
it
on. I
at the
will see.
bottom. It says text Serge Gainsbourg.
Yep.
Yeah, l'enfant assassin des mouches. Yeah, and um, here here's another little interesting oddity that I keep in this sleeve. Finders Keepers, which that's okay. So this is a Finders Keepers reissue. I think that's the first thing that they ever reissued back when. Um, they they put out this mix called Histoire de Mélodie Vanier, and they only made, I don't know, there's not very many of these. I think they've only made 75 of these, or no, how many copies of this? They made very few of these. I can't remember, but it's a very very limited thing, and it's a mix of Melody Nelson and this here into like I think it's an hour long mix of everything. It's kind of amazing. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. That's the
Yeah, yeah. But he
yeah.
was an important artist, and I think even when he was he has this, wouldn't say this his comeback in the '80s. The younger generation, they were crazy about him. I would say probably more than the young generation in the '60s, because all these frame that friends had back in the days in the '60s. Yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. I mean, French music is, if you want to get into it, I think the problem with French music is effectively that if you don't speak French, a lot of it will just go over your head because I mean, one of the to me, at least, one of the
the key
highest
aspects. Yeah,
aspects of the
yeah.
most interesting qualities of French music is certainly what it has to say, and more so than I feel. I mean, look, now I don't really listen to lyrics that often. I listen to so much music that comes from countries where I don't understand a word of the language. That to me, the voice is another instrument. In many cases, like when I listen to Brazilian music, I don't understand what they're saying, and you know, I don't need to. I feel something, the emotion in the voice, especially when you listen to something like MPB, for example, which is very sort of like melancholic, kind of bittersweet. You can feel it. You don't need to know exactly what they're saying, and that's fine. And I think maybe for people who don't speak French, it's probably the same for them. But I feel that with French music like Gainsbourg, Manset,
Nougaro,
Colette
Nougaro.
Mani, Catherine Ribeiro.
Mm.
You're talking about Christophe. You're talking about Nino Ferrer, Guy Skornik. All these kinds of, really like heavyweights of like 70s French, as I said, progressive pop or and beyond. And then later, you've got obviously a lot of really great pop in the 80s in France. I was talking about Etienne Dao before, but you've got lots and lots of these kinds of
Bashung. How about Bashung?
Bashung,
Yeah,
Bashung, Higelin.
Igelin. Yeah,
It's. I mean, all these. If you don't understand the language, there's a lot of it that's missed. I think. But again, you could very well not know a word and really enjoy it. But I find for me the enjoyment of French music is also what they're saying.
yeah.
In a lot of cases, when I listen to Brel, I get that he's emotional, everything. But if I didn't understand what he was saying, I don't think it would like
You
it
would get a
hits.
third. You would get a third, maybe.
Oh yeah, it hits
Yeah,
you in
yeah.
places where you just go. Like when you listen to Brad and he sings about the Les Vieux, for example, the song about old people that and he describes in very sort of accurate ways how old people feel. Like how they're lonely and how no one wants to talk to them, and all this kind of stuff. And you listen to it and you go, "Oh fucking hell, that is just heartbreaking." Like you just like often I find myself listening to Jacques Brel and almost being in tears because it's it's
Yeah.
so it just it crushes you inside. So yeah, the poetry is there.
Yeah, and how was what was the name? The guy he used to work with Gainsbourg, Alain Goraguer, I think he named.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
He worked with
Yeah,
Vanier, but
yeah, yeah.
he works with Goraguer. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, Alain Goraguer is also another genius. I mean, you've got all these arrangers in France that nobody really knows about. André Pop, Alain Graguer,
Mm.
Jean-Claude Vanier, François. I mean, François de Roubaix never worked with Gainsbourg, I think, but these are the kind. This is a school of, like, I think what we do well in France, I feel, is that um, there's. I think that's my view of it. I don't know. I've talked uh, uh, about this with Stanley, I think, a few times, but it's like what we do well is that culture is seen as a very fundamental wing of our psyche, of who we are. Like, I think there's a huge emphasis on culture in all its forms. You can see just by the simple fact that you can go to a Fnac in France, in every city, and there's this supermarket of books and records and which is there for everyone to access.
Yeah, Fnac, for those who doesn't know,
Yeah,
it's a chain.
yeah,
It's a corporate record store chain.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
but whilst it's corporate, it gives access to a great. Every time I go to France, I'm blown away. I think to myself, well, we don't have anything like this. Like,
Really?
and even in I bet you, even in the US, there's nothing quite like this, where you have the latest novels, and we're not talking about like trash, we're talking about serious literature, where you have like sections dedicated to comic books, of like high grade comic books, a section that's dedicated to every possible genre of music. If you want, if you do it, you go to Fnac, you can even find things like from the Arab world, and like
Yeah,
there's I mean, I'm simplifying things really, but it shows you that there is a dedication for people to access this stuff. It's not like, like, it wouldn't exist if the dedication wasn't there in the first place. And I think we have to, as French people, we have to recognize that the arts, and literature and music and all it, as a big, it's got a big place, whether we want to recognize it or not. It has a big place, much bigger than, say, I mean, in the UK, of course, music is huge, obviously, because but then I don't think there's so much of an emphasis on the other forms, like maybe film a little bit. But in France, French films, French cinema is amazing. Like,
yeah,
what French cinema managed to produce every year is staggering. Like, so you've got, there is, culture is pushed forward. I think from
yeah,
from a person who's not been living there for 20 years. When I go there, I realize how much it's there, it's present. Maybe if you live there and maybe you don't think it's around you, but I think it definitely is. It's my view of it anyway.
yeah. I think they get a lot of money. They get lot of help, financial support. I think so, which helps. When after and after the 60s, the Italian cinema, the German cinema, they were huge. They both crashed, and I think the whole Hollywood took over. And in France, we were lucky since we had this yeah, the way to continue, and a lot of, yeah, a lot of movies could be even exported there. So in Canada, in the French speaking part, obviously they know about our movies. And yeah, I think it's a chance. I think it's a chance that we don't realize when we live in France. We have to we have to go elsewhere to realize, hey, how lucky we are here.
I Yeah, I don't know.
Sleeping up.
It's just an observation that I'm making. I'm just looking at the comments too, and
Yeah, yeah. I will go back. There were an interesting question. Cesar, he asked if we have any recommendations to make on French bands from the early 20s. Baby Brune is this is yeah, this is
Baby Brune, yeah, Baby Brune is they were like
mainstream.
they
Yeah,
were a bit like the Strokes or the Libertines in like they were kind of that
yeah.
was kind of sound, yeah, very much sort of like pop punk.
Teenager pop punk. Yeah,
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 I mean, I'm not criticizing. I used to the first Strokes album. I used to think was a masterpiece. It's a great record. Um, but from that period, 2000, I must say, I'm going to come clean on this one. And 2000 to 2010, I moved here in 2002, so I was fairly disconnected with all that stuff. I mean, it's only the stuff that I heard through, whatever was reported on the French news or whatnot, that sort of I had there were a few acts here and there, but I only found about Bebe Brune through the mainstream media, basically.
yeah.
I don't have anything, I don't really have much of that time period, if that makes sense, personally. But, like, I'm sorry, I can't help on that one.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I was in France in 2005. I was 19 years old, so I was listening to a lot of music, but don't specifically French rock music from yeah,
Yeah.
from that
I
time.
would like, I mean, an artist from the 2000s, from France that I really love, but it's not that style of music as well. It's no, is Françoise Breu. Do you know Françoise Breu? Have you listened to her?
No, 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 not really. Françoise
No,
Breu.
Françoise Breu. Her first album sounds like, it's got a very sort of Nick Cave kind of. I mean,
Feeling. Yeah,
like
yeah,
90s Nick Cave. If I don't know if you know, for example, the like the Boatman's Call or Henry's Dream or those kinds of records. It's got this kind of cinematic. I'm thinking about the Tindersticks or Nick Cave, a little bit of tiny, tiny hints of Tom Waits, the Cowboy Junkies, who I absolutely love, adore. Those kinds of reference points, like sort of like old country, but with a kind of like a little bit like Calexico comes to mind as well. So Françoise Breu, she made a few albums in the 2000s. Her name is spelled Françoise with a Z. François, it's not S-E, it's Françoise with a Z. Breu is spelled Breut. Breu. And the first couple of albums are magical. I just love that music. But then there's not much else that I would listen to that's from France, from that time period.
yeah. The thing was very. It was a bit weird. We had we had the radio stations, national radio station in France, and during the summertime, in the festival Les Eurocaines, Les Eurocaines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's 10 k's away from where I come from, so I
yeah,
know. Yeah,
and it's 25K from yeah, and yeah, and it was very interesting since you had a lot of all native rock scene that you never listened to those bands on the radio, and so maybe I would go back and I would check to program the schedule of Vieille Charrue, Les Eurocaines, all that festivals that took place back in.
yeah. I mean, Un Cinglé Sublime wrote a comment there. He said, I can confirm that François. Can you pull out that comment?
Sure,
It's nice to be vindicated vindicated sometimes. um,
you're a
yeah,
teacher.
Françoise. Yeah, it's got a Z at the end of Françoise. It's not Françoise, Françoise. But yeah, that's the name. That's the name basically. Um, but the first record, which I mean, I've got these on CD, and my CDs are, yeah. Thank you, Sangle Sublime. Um, my CDs are in the room next door. But and they're not here. I'm just surrounded by records here. I don't have many other.
Yeah,
Uh,
Meteora is maybe more knowledge about this is really his cup of tea. Um, Noir Désir, yeah, Noir Désir is more a 90s band.
yeah, they sort of
Yeah,
progressed a little bit
yeah,
in the 2000s, but yeah, obviously because of
yeah. The thing, yeah,
the murder that sort of was kind of.
Yeah, but they were
Um,
in a hiatus anyway. They in 2003. Back then,
mm,
they didn't stop, but they were like in having a break, I think.
yeah,
But yeah, merci Meteora. Thank you.
but I mean, yeah, it's French music is very very vast, and there's a lot. I mean, there's a little bit for everyone, I think. And French hip hop. I mean, it's just also a huge topic that you could like. I made a video on French hip hop like quite recently, I think, but it's just so much to like. I mean, I think in France at the moment is the most popular
Genre.
medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, I would say. But then what they're producing nowadays is not to me not very interesting.
Yeah, I used to I listen to French music or French hip hop. Yeah, but back in 1995 or up until 2001, and yeah, we had some great bands like I Am or NTM or Assassin. I don't know if you where were the bands that you were into? Any specific bands or
When how like you mean hip hop or
late yeah hip hop late 90s hip hop French hip hop late 90s, yeah, sorry, yeah.
I can give you my top albums rather than top bands. I mean, for me, Opera Puccino,
Yeah,
Oxmo Puccino.
Puccino, yeah.
That's to me, it's a masterpiece. I mean, everything on that album is just dynamite. Like, on the flow, the lyrics, the beats. It's a monster album. An album that is a little bit under the radar for a lot of people is La Rumeur.
Yeah,
Do you know the album La
I know
Rumeur?
I know the band. I was at the high school, but I don't know the album, but I remember the name because we were listening to
Um,
yeah,
the album
yeah,
name at the moment, don't know why, but it's escaping me. But I've got it on my phone here. It's one of these things that I keep on my. Voilà, L'ombre sur la mesure.
hold on,
There we go.
okay.
That's that album there is absolutely just it's just to me it just does everything and a hip hop album that should do. The samples are amazing again. The the quality of the lyrics and the delivery. I just love their voices. I love the contrast between their voices. It's like when you listen to Tribe Called Quest. There's you can hear who's singing, and it's just I just find phenomenal. La Rumeur, um, and obviously, I mean, I will say probably my favorite French hip hop album of all time is probably Proche Combat by MC Solar, but it's because it's the one that I've heard the most, I think. And I know all the lyrics of by heart. I can sing it. I can sing the whole thing. I've heard it millions of times. So
Yeah,
um, I just to me it's a perfect record. It's just like, and there's some songs on there that I just think it just every time like um, what's that song at the end? Je l'ai dit à 10 de mes disciples. It's one of the last songs on the album, which I find is just such a masterclass, and it's a love letter to jazz as well, which is what I love about this. It's
okay,
he loves he says basically that like if French hip hop is so good in the 90s is because of thanks to jazz. But I think MC Solar is very much in the on the same line as I was talking about Tribe Called Quest or anyone from the native tongues in New York. Like you've got like De La Soul and Jungle Brothers and Tribe Called Quest, and I mean to an extent, LL Cool J was part of the extent bit of that. Queen Latifah, Money Love, like all these acts were in the same kind of well, not LL Cool J, definitely not, but he was sort of an influence, I think. And then I think Solar, he's transposed that to the French scene, like 100%. I mean, when I hear Post Combat, I can hear Tribe Called Quest. I mean, it's clearly, either parallel or as owes a debt to that music. But I don't know which one it is, but I don't really care. I think Post Combat is just, to me, it's sheer perfection. And obviously, I am
Yeah, l'école du
the
micro d'argent.
the great École du Micro
Ah,
d'Argent,
yeah,
L'Enfer. Ah, that's when I listen to those. I mean, and you still got people saying, hip hop is not, rap's not real music or whatever, or hip hop is not real music. I think they've got, somebody took a shit in their ears. Yes, yes. Magnificent album,
yeah.
absolutely.
And this is one of my favorite as well. This is Shuriken. He was part of the band I Am, and this is the album he dropped in '98. His first album, and it's brilliant. You have all these
Yeah,
yeah influence, Asian influence. He was studying Taoism,
mm, yeah.
and
I've
yeah,
got the album too. I love it too. Yeah, it's
yeah,
yeah, and NTM obviously. I mean, you'd have to mention NTM obviously because
yeah.
their first two or three albums just yeah. But
Paris sous les bombes.
um, Dom, hello Dom. Sorry, I should have said hi to
Yeah,
you.
I don't.
What do you say? Would you both say that is a signature French hip hop apart from um I don't really understand the question per se. You mean like something that's typically French, not influenced by America? Is that what you're saying? It's
Yeah, I think the French rapper, they were all influenced by America, but the history was a bit different. In America, is all about black people, and the history. In France, we also have the same history with all the people that came from Africa, but not for the same reason. Is more post-colonialism, and yeah, the main rapper, they were originally either from Africa, Senegal, Mali, whatever, or from North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia.
and from the ghetto mostly. I mean,
And from, yeah,
that's
yeah,
yeah, because
yeah,
that's the thing with people don't if you don't come from France and you don't understand that situation.
yeah,
I think I think France, number one, just to say, France was the first country to adopt hip hop after the US.
yeah.
France embraced hip hop. Like this whole Zulu Nation thing was huge. Like, there's been tons of books written about this topic. France adopted hip hop, welcomed it, opened up because it had a fertile ground for it. Because you had a combination of disenfranchised youth in I'm just going to say the word in ghettos because that's what they are. We have estates like of concrete blocks around main cities filled to the brim with people who have nothing really or next to nothing and now mostly North African immigrants because that's you know it's generational poverty basically. It's I'm not saying this in a
By
derogatory
the way,
way.
no, yeah, yeah,
It's the truth, like and because of that you have you had the perfect storm for hip hop to be a thing in France because it spoke directly to the youth who
yeah,
didn't believe in. I mean, this is the thing in France is that you got this cross section of the youth that live in banlieue, in
suburb,
estates,
yeah.
and they don't believe in France. A lot of them they don't believe in the idea of France. They believe in other things, but France is not.
Yeah, you're from Italy. Your parents, my grandparents came from Poland, but we had a chance. We were very lucky. I think my grandparents, they could have a house, they could have a garden, backyard, something very cool. Very a lot of people came from Portugal to work in France, and they have nice conditions. But after the war, or in the '60s, when people came from Senegal or Morocco, wasn't actually the same. They were all gathered in some ghetto, I would say.
But
Yeah,
the thing is, if you look
yeah,
at my personal family history, my grandparents arrived in 1962 in France, and they lived in a concrete block, like,
yeah,
and they lived amongst, just immigrants. Like there was no one else, just, and they worked their way out of that. Like my grandfather was a labor, like a mason, a stone mason, like a builder.
yeah,
My grandmother was a house cleaner, and they by no means rich or had anything, but they decided early on that they wouldn't be living there. They just moved themselves out, just out of their sheer will of and I think it was possible to do, but you just have to want to do it as well. It's
yeah,
it, I think it's not just that, say they were white or whatever. It's I think it plays a part, definitely, because
yeah,
but
yeah,
but the thing is, I think they also had to want to, and that's what, and they saw this as a, as a challenge. That they were living somewhere that wasn't really terribly nice, and they wanted out of it, and they got out of it. So I think in that respect, it's like everybody else. You just have to try and make it. But we're not here to solve any problems. In the end,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it is. But yeah. Um,
Hold on a sec. Caesar. Okay, I just did. So I just put a link of your channel, Fred, in the chat. What's the
mm,
admin friend
was here in France towards the music.
that you can hear on the French TV on the New Year's Eve?
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. I know. I know what you're saying. It's not. It's not. Yeah. Yeah. I mean. You're talking about mainstream TV. TF1, whatever, France 2, whatever. It's crap. Like, it's rubbish. What you want to say? But that's not.
There is a quote. The CEO of that channel, he once said something like, "Our goal is to selling time for the brain for Coca Cola something." You remember that quote?
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. You have to
yeah,
make sure people are
temps
ready to.
cerveau disponible.
Du
Yeah.
temps de dispo cerveau. Ouais, exact. Ouais, ouais.
Yeah, 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 that's the available brain time that you can
Time
steal.
available for Coca Cola to do the. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Look, I don't know, who Nikita is, but in any case, yeah, I get what you're saying. If you're talking about mainstream French programs on TV, I don't watch TV anyway myself, so I just wouldn't know. I don't, like, here in Australia. I haven't watched TV for years. Like, absolutely, watch Netflix occasionally, but I don't watch TV. And it's my lounge here. I don't even have a TV. So like, it tells you everything you need to know. But in France, you yeah, a lot of French. And when I go to France, and my mum has got a TV on, and she watches like daytime programs, I think to myself, but it's the same in every country. That's the same everywhere you go. It's no different. But I think if you talk about France's relationship with culture as a whole, I think it's stronger than in other places. I really feel that. And if you don't agree, you don't agree. That's fine. But I feel that it's still a place where it's regarded as important. And people who are watching this here and us talk, I'm not a reference point. I don't know anything. I'm nobody. It's just my perception of it. That's nothing else. It's just perception. I may be completely wrong. I'm prepared to accept that I'm wrong, but I feel that you know we tend to promote higher forms of cultures more than, say, for example, I've been living in Australia here for more than 20 years, and you know, there's no comparison. That's what I will say.
How big is Australian? I mean, in population, how many?
Not very big, not very big.
Yeah, like in
We
Canada.
have
Yeah,
28 million people here.
yeah. It's
20
almost like in Canada. It's a huge country, but people are, yeah,
How many people in Canada? More.
30, 37 million.
37. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But we have, yeah, the I mean, as you probably know, most of the people live in densely populated areas in cities. It's the
same over
same.
same over
Yeah,
here. Yeah,
yeah. So Melbourne, Sydney, whatnot, Brisbane. They're the centers for. There's now 5 or 6 now in Melbourne here. We've crushed the 5 million people, which is, it's a very sizable amount of you know people compared to the rest of the country. But I think, um, like, if I talk about culture in Melbourne, I can access anything I want. All the bands come here. We've got every movie known to man, but you have to seek it. You have to go and find it. You have to. It's only if you're interested. Whereas I think in France, it's more. A lot of it is more in the public eye. It's more for everyone to see. I think. That's the difference.
and I think if there is a difference with the main with the TF1, the main TV stations, and the regional station, this is maybe something different. Maybe they are bit much more closer to the local people. Uh, it's like
Mm.
on the radio station, French rappers.
Mm.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I am always referred to Eric B and Rakim. Say they was highly influenced by these guys and Africa Mambata back in the 80s. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, we could. I mean, look, we could talk about this forever and ever. It's kind of, and we haven't even scratched the surface. But maybe we should talk about records. we
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure,
we
sure.
we we're here to, like, to, I don't know. I mean, what is this something that, do you have any? Oh,
Yeah, I brought some stuff there.
you brought some stuff,
Yeah, I brought some stuff. Yeah, this is something, for instance, I discover thanks to your channel. Uh,
Oh yeah, it's
yeah, you
beautiful.
you were presenting that record. I don't have a lot of soundtrack in my collection. I know the French VC is dedicated to soundtrack to various or some stuff. I don't have a lot, but you were. I know you were mentioning that, and this is a bizarre movie from Jean-Jacques Benix, and it's really interesting. It's a weird mix. You have like experimental stuff and almost something for meditation. My wife was trying to do yoga with that record. She say whenever she does yoga, I have to put the B side of that record, and
But the
yeah,
the opera bits in I find
the
that
opera.
amazing. 'Cause it starts with a little bit of
Yeah.
opera at the start, and there's an aria at the start. Then it goes into a beautiful piano ballad by Vladimir Kosma,
Mhm.
which is a little bit like an Eric Satie track, tune,
Yep.
or it's very sort of Debussy, very impressionistic. And then it goes into a sort of kind of Brian Eno esque kind of uh, ambient piece, and I mean, it doesn't know what it wants to be, but it all works together for some reason. I don't know how they did, but when I play it, I think to myself that I've recommended this soundtrack to, so I bought so many copies of that soundtrack for people. Like every time, like in Melbourne, you could find this in every shop for $5. Like
Yeah.
I'm serious. It must have sold like hotcakes here, because you could basically find it everywhere. And so every time I saw it, I would buy it for someone and give it as a gift to someone. And I still think to this day, it's my favorite movie soundtrack. Just on the basis that it's so varied, and it's interesting, and it's got these genres of music that I personally love, like modern classical and
Yeah.
ambient, and it sort of really does it really really well. But I mean, it's obviously a personal preference. But I'm glad you like it. It's good.
Yeah, no, I really like it. And soundtrack. I know it's a little bit. I wouldn't buy a soundtrack of a movie that I haven't watched, obviously, or a soundtrack. Just give you an example. The friend who helps with my channel, he composed the music, the background music, and he was at a school at London in the UK, and he once sent me a PDF file. This is how to compose as James Horner, or and it's really like cadre, or it's like a pattern. And this is what I don't specific like in the music, when you have boundaries, when you have rules, when you have the first verse has to be like that, and then the three verse has to be like that.
Should we
And
talk about should we talk about a few soundtracks whilst we're
sure,
here?
sure, sure.
Uh, just I'm just gonna, they're just here. I've just pulled a section of them. Let's have a look.
I'll make it big.
Well,
Oh,
obviously,
Vangelis, yeah, yeah,
obviously, absolute classic. I mean, like this is
yeah.
the atmosphere of the movie. It's just, I mean, what to say? This is ambient masterwork. Like it's so dark, and all these sort of like, somber overtones that you get in this. This is beautiful. What have we got there? Another classic.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
That's that the movie is fantastic, but the soundtrack, without the soundtrack, the movie is nothing really, in my opinion. The soundtrack is just so, like that car chase. I mean, this whole thing. I've got an interesting relationship with this record. Actually, it's one of the first record fairs I went to in Melbourne in 2000, and I want to say 2005, around that time, 2004 maybe. And I don't know why, but I was really I really wanted this record. And I walked into this fair and I said, today I'm going to find this record. And I walked to a cellar, and I flipped through the bin, and it was there, practically the first or the second cellar that that was there. I thought that was good karma. That was what have I got here? The Chain Reaction, and that's B movie, Australian.
Yeah,
Australian
I don't know about this
sci-fi
one.
B movie, super cool soundtrack, electronic soundtrack, really freaking amazing. Kind of like synthy, like what all these new soundtracks try to be. Like nowadays you've got this kind of like wave of synth made soundtrack. This is from 1980, but it's completely like, it's fully synthy, kind of like brooding dark. The Chain Reaction. The movie is not. It's not very good, but it's an interesting. What have I got here? Chariots of the Gods. That's also very interesting. That's a movie about like the occult. Things like Mayan civilizations, and the soundtrack is really, again, kind of wacky. And what have we got? This
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
Profondo Rosso, Deep Red. Now this is the Australian version of this, pressed in very 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 few very small quantities, and therefore quite rare, but found again in like in the thrift store for, I think I can pay like $4 for this at the time, but very happy to have it. I think it's a wonderful soundtrack. I mean, Goblin is amazing. I know you love prog rock, Romuald, and I think like
Yes, I
Goblin
do.
is one of these bands that, talk about Italian prog. It's one of these bands I still love in Italian prog. It's just, they've got a very dramatic, kind of almost funky quality to them.
Yep.
There's mine.
Which pressing is that? Just to compare with mine.
It's supposedly an audiophile pressing.
Audiophile pressing. Okay.
Yeah, from I don't know. Well, it's an original pressing, but it's supposedly audiophile. Yeah, I mean, this is all. I mean, anyone who've used this live stream or whatever, it's dynamite. Um, the never remade June by Jorodowski. So I don't know. Do you know? Do you know this director,
Kurz.
Jodorowsky? He's a Chilean director. Is completely insane. He made The Holy Mountain and El Topo, which was like really psychedelic movie. Like El Topo is a psychedelic Western movie. The Holy Mountain is kind of the most demented movie that I've ever seen. Really, it's the story of a search for. I can't even explain it. I mean, all I'm going to say is, if you're going to watch The Holy Mountain, don't take drugs. You'll never recover. This, this. So, the story of this is very interesting. There's a movie made about this. He wanted to make June, to make the movie version of the Frank Herbert. I mean, everybody knows June, obviously, and he had this wild project, which involved, casting Salvador Dali, I think Orson Welles, and he had this amazing cast, and he could never make the movie because it was too expensive. Anyway, they made a documentary about it, and that's the soundtrack for it, and it's kind of amazing, and I think people should Escape from New York. Now, this is John Carpenter, very, very,
Famous.
high octane, like, horror, kind of horror score soundtrack. Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee, that's Lalo Schifrin. I mean, everybody should know Lalo Schifrin, Argentinian, soundtrack
Film
composer.
score maker. Yeah.
Yeah, he composed lots and lots of. Here's the Holy Mountain. That's the soundtrack. That sort of gives you an idea what the film might be about or not. It's fucking crazy. There's a section. There's a passage in the movie where, I think, basically the Holy Mountain is not really. There's no real story. It's more like a collection of really amazing to look at scenes which have weaved into one another. There's scenes where they carry, dead rabbits on who have been crucified on crosses in the streets, and you've got the invasion of South America by the Spanish conquistador reenacted with frogs and chameleons in, like, they've dressed frogs in conquistador suits, and then they blow the whole thing up. I mean, that movie is just so mind-blowing. But there's a scene where they turn shit into gold. Somebody takes a shit and it just gets turned into gold by an alchemist. Watch it. It's very interesting. The Holy Mountain. L'Homme Orchestre, François de Roubaix.
Oh oui, ouais.
Louis de Funès. Again, super funky as well.
Yeah,
Jaws.
Jaws,
And talk about Jaws. These are just soundtracks that I've kept in my collection because I think this is an oddity. It's like a 70s movie that just nobody knows about, really. The Mariage Collectif. As you can see, it's like I think it's kind of soft porn or something, basically. But the soundtrack is really amazing. It's really, again, like,
it's not cheesy harpsichord or cheesy organ like,
yeah.
70s.
Yeah, super cheesy harpsichord, but we love it. Okay. I love cheesy harpsichord. That's one of my favorite movies ever. Un homme et une femme, a man and woman.
Right.
Jean-Louis Trintignant and
Anouk Aimée.
Yeah, it's just beautiful movie, and the soundtrack is amazing. And it's interesting. This movie funded the label Sarava, who then went on to produce Brigitte Fontaine and all sorts of great French singers. The funds for this came from this movie because Pierre Barou made enough money out of the music of this to start the label, which is it's amazing. And
Okay, didn't
he
know.
he's on the soundtrack. He does the soundtrack. Pierre Barou. Everybody knows the theme of this. Everybody knows it. It's very well known. Midnight Express with Giorgio Moroder,
Yeah,
The Chase,
Ace.
Midnight Cowboy, John Barry, some soundtracks by Morricone. This is just a compilation of everything and anything Morricone. Now we're talking about Alain Goraguer, and that's got to be one of my favorite soundtracks ever. Anybody watching this has never heard the Fantastic Planet soundtrack. They're in for a. The thing with this soundtrack is I don't know what it is. I mean, it's equally psychedelic, proggy, funky, orchestral. It's just crazy. Like, you can play it at 33 RPM and 45 RPM. It still works.
Okay.
It's amazing. When I was a kid, do you remember Romuald? Maybe I'm a bit
Amicalement
younger.
Vôtre. Amicalement Vôtre.
Do you remember
Yeah.
the soundtrack?
Yeah, of
So
course.
good.
Of
Oh,
course. Yeah.
such an amazing soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got more in the thing, but I'll I think I've talked enough here.
No, it's really good. I don't have a lot of soundtrack.
I've got some more there, but I've just pulled half of them.
I think I have
All right.
Chariots and Fire and Evangelis, and I don't have a lot of. But I do like soundtracks. I do like one I would like to have is the soundtrack of Bedazzled. It's an old movie from 1967 with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, and it's
Yeah.
very British. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the one Taxi Driver. I really like the theme, composed by Bernard Herrmann, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I never thought of going flicking through the soundtrack bins. But yeah,
But I think for me, it's more okay. There's two different things. There's movie scores and movie soundtracks, and
yeah,
people often confuse those two things. A movie score is something that's been composed for the movie
yeah,
by a composer, and that I find very interesting because effectively, there's something that's linked to the images, that you know a movie soundtrack. I don't always find. I mean, look, it's fine. They're mostly compilations
yeah.
of stuff that people have that goes well in there. If you take something like I don't know,
Tarantino, for instance, it is the best
yeah,
example. Yeah,
yeah, that's right. So
yeah,
they're two different things for me. Like we talk about. I think for me these are scores. Like we talk about John Barry. John Barry composed the whole of this.
yeah,
Is the and talk about this score was entirely composed for that movie, and so yes, to me I'm more interested in that sort of aspect of it than. I mean, sure, I do have some which are just like in between, but mostly the movie scores, and I find the have some of them very 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 exciting. I mean, they're they're great pieces of music. So I
yeah.
mean, that's the difference thing. Yeah.
So I also brought a couple of a couple
Yeah,
of red.
show us what you wrote. I've been hogging the record showing, but I mean,
No, sure,
you
it's
know,
fine. So yeah, I know you don't like typical prog. How maybe do you know about this band? This is
who was it?
Days of Phoenix. This is an obscure band from Denmark,
I
and
don't know that band at all. No,
it's
no.
really interesting. And it's a reissue I recently got, and it's very interesting. It's Tony Reeves as the bass player from Colosseum. He produced that band back in the days, and it's psych. It's proggy. It's very jazz fusion rock, and it's very interesting. It has both the krautrock and the West Coast psych elements on that one.
Yeah,
So and might be
that's cool.
might
Yeah.
be appealing to you.
What's the band called?
Days Days of Phoenix.
Days of Phoenix.
Days
Okay.
of Phoenix, yeah. And
Yeah.
recently get a hold of a copy of that one. It's originally released in 1970, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool.
That one, of course, you know that one.
Ah,
Yeah,
I love
it's
Demon Fuzz. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
recently have some friends over for dinner, and he is very into heavy metal stuff, and but very open to other. And I played a record, and he was crazy about that. He was crazy about that Afrobeat, funky
so
sounds. It's
do you have in on that same kind of realm of music? Do you have the Osibisa records as well?
no, no,
Because I think they're fairly easy to find, and they're in the same kind of sound. I'll show you some. Hang on, one second.
yeah, sure,
Um, because I think that if you like this, um, here, there, I'll show you. Sorry, I'm hijacking the conversation again,
no
but
problem.
this is a band from the UK made of African
Yeah, people, yeah,
expat.
yeah,
And Osibisa, covered by the cover is obviously by Roger Dean, who did all the Yes
Budgie
album
and
covers. Yeah.
Budgie, yeah,
So not only you get this kind of, I mean, you can tell that there's a proggy element in there just by the cover. So that's a killer record. This one here, again, it straddles the line between funk and prog, like Demon Fuzz actually. This which is Heads. I haven't played this for a long time, but I mean, they're beautiful records, even just to look at, to start with. But they're great records to listen to on top of everything. And I've got a third one here, which is very much in the vein of Asia, or yeah, it could be a Yes record, like album cover. And if you look at the what's going on there, the fuzz funk, Afrobeat is real.
oh
Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
just recommendations if you like Demon Fuzz. And the next step
yeah. No,
probably
really like. Thank you,
Osibisa.
thank you very much. I have I haven't very much. I have very little knowledge about Brian Eno. Say you were talking about this Apollo record he made, and I gave it a try last time, and I really appreciate it. And
Um, uh,
yeah,
hang on, Brian Eno, Afri-
yeah, the Apollo album. Yeah, I'm jumping from one
oh,
subject to
Apollo.
another.
Ah, yeah, Apollo. Yeah,
Apollo.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because Brian Eno produced an African record as well.
Oh,
That's what I was.
okay.
I was confused here.
Yeah.
Here.
But those records you were showing, a friend of mine, Luca, he's got a channel, Planet of Plate.
Yeah.
You were showing those records lately in one of his stream. Hold on, I will make you big. Edit, edit. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so Brian Eno actually. Ooh, the inside of the gatefold is printed back to front. There we go. African super band produced by Brian Eno. I think these guys were from Ghana. That's right,
Yeah.
not
Okay.
Nigeria, Ghana. Yeah, there we go. There they are at the bottom. Eddie Campo, yeah, the pace setters, yeah. So no, that's cool. That's a Brian Eno. That's what I thought you were talking about African records
Yeah.
and Brian. Well, actually,
Perfect.
Brian was producing African records. Yes.
Yeah. It's perfect. Perfect
But
for the
Apollo, yeah, no, I understand. Apollo, soundtracks, wonderful. Ambient, 1, 2, 3, 4, music for films, and all. I mean, I looked at my Discogs, a while back, and I had something like, I don't know, 80 or 85 Brian Eno related releases, either under his name or like,
collaboration. Yeah. Yeah.
it's freaking endless. Like he's, and I don't even have, if I really wanted to have more Eno, I would have like triple that. But it's it's insane. You know, have you what Eno have you got? Have you got any at all? Or
I don't have, yeah. I randomly, I watch your channel, I watch other people's channel. I really like, and I can trust the product. Sometimes I write it down, and when I'm at work, I'm driving long distance. I have my playlist, and if I really like the record that I didn't know about, um,
yeah,
yeah. No, I don't have any on vinyl, any copy, any physical format yet.
okay, here, right. So this is common stuff, but the first one, obviously, here comes a warm jet. Classic post Roxy music, kind of still in the glam rock kind of period, but and the songs are very neat. Babies on Fire, for example, is typical sort of glammy Eno, but all the same, very sort of like avant-garde in its own way for the time, 1974, I think. Um, and then, so I like this one, but I'm not. The next three for me are where it's at. So it's the crossover of the ambient with with in crossing over in the rock territory, like another Green World masterpiece, really, like from start to finish. Collection of like little ambient vignettes, like little little soundscapes, and then there'll be a song where he sings, and then there'll be another kind of like really dark, somber kind of little vignettes, and it's got Phil Collins on drums there, and who's there? Brian Eno, Phil Collins, um, John Cale plays on this. Robert Fripp
Wow.
from King Crimson plays on this. Yeah, so I'll come running the big ship in dark. Was that Spirits Drifting? Dark Trees, great song. And then, arguably, I think my true favorite Eno first period album, Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy. Everybody would know this, and just absolutely incredible album from start to finish. Just yeah, to me, just a masterpiece. The songs on there, like, they've instantly memorable. And it's got Third Uncle, which is like the song that invented the Talking Heads, basically.
Yeah.
and and then to me, for me, if I'm going to choose one, it's got to be this one, Before and After Science, and the other ones are. But to me, that's to me the most essential one. Side A, very rock, very sort of like rock pop. Side B, ambient, quite rock. Um, One of my favorite songs of all time, Julie with song 2, and By This River, song 3. Remember, years and years and years ago, I saw a movie called La Stanza del Figlio, the Son's Room. It's an Italian movie, and there's a scene in there where they've used that song By This River by Brian Eno, and it just comes out of nowhere, and that solidified my love for this album forever and ever. I just yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Christopher. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hi,
Chris.
Christopher. Yeah. And yeah, I recently watched a very interesting folk, Britannia folk, which was broadcast as
Yeah.
on BBC4. And in the US they had Bob Dylan, in the UK they had Donovan. They were both inspired by Lead Belly and Woody Guthrie and all these artists. And Donovan, it's very interesting. He went with the Beatles in India, and he's the one who taught John Lennon the picking method. And when he came back, he recorded an album very underrated. This is that one. This is the Hurdy-Gurdy Man. I think it was only, not sure if it has been released in Europe. This is pretty amazing. It has all the elements: swing, London '60s, Oriental music, jazz, from the time, from that era. The
Mm,
Hurdy-Gurdy Man,
yeah.
and yeah,
I
much.
used to I
Yeah.
used to have it here
Okay.
on wax here, and I mean, sad to say, but I got rid of a few Donovan records because, well, I wasn't really listening to them, and I thought that they would make a bit of space, but I still have a few Donovan records because I really I think he's very underrated. I think
Yeah.
I agree with you. He's have you got a gift from a flower to the garden? Have you got that?
No, no.
It's
It's the only Donovan record that I do have in the collection, my collection.
okay because it's Donovan. It's the most so kind of psychedelic version of the I think of Donovan here. Donovan, where is he? Here, there. I don't have much. I'm pulling out every record from my collection. So this here,
Okay, guys. Yeah.
a gift from a flower to the garden to a garden, Donovan. It's a double LP, and yeah, you can see that it's the same time period.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's wonderfully psychedelic and eccentric music. You know, it's no the ones I have. Otherwise, I've just
Yeah.
kept that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sunshine
I just love the
Superman. Yeah.
title track, and you know, and Season of the Witch is really great on this as well. And this here, which I think is an interesting little record. It's called Early Treasures, and it's got a song. I kept it just for a song called Sunny Good Street, song number 3 there, which is very, very atypical. It's got a cello on it, which is really, really beautiful and sort of very melancholic, very moody kind of sound. Sunny Good Street, yeah, beautiful song. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hi,
No.
Jack.
No. No. No, you're my guest.
No,
You can do what you
and I've
want.
got enough records to show you, so that's fine. It's
Yeah. No. I
we
know.
could-
I only pick up a couple. I think a dozen or something. Yeah.
Mm,
The next one. I
yeah,
was after the records. I think 4 years, and it's brilliant. It's a great collaboration. Gene
yeah.
Clark. He left the Birds. He made 2 albums with a banjo player, Doug Dillard, and it's folk. Uh, I'm very very lucky. It's an OG press release on the A&M label, and just one song on that one, the radio song. Just listen to that that song named the radio song. It's really cool. Really like everything he did when he left the Birds with the Gosden brothers, for instance. He made one album called Echoes, and very underrated artist, Gene Clark.
I love this.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
I
yeah.
love this.
Oh yeah,
And this happens
yeah.
to be an OG actually.
Oh
It's OG, yeah. Yeah, I love this album. So
yeah,
good. It's just I'm pretty sure it is. Um yeah.
it's a German.
Asylum.
It's a no, it's a German.
Asylum. No, hang on. Let me have a look. I think it's an Australian original of the time. Yeah. So because we press records here too, you know.
I
But
know.
yeah. Mm. Um, yeah, this is good. One that I picked up notes. Well, I mean, you showed these on your video. I mean, I'm gonna show them 10 times. You know,
Yeah, I just found both. Yeah, yeah,
Roadmaster is really good.
yeah,
No other, but this one here is a little bit under the radar as well, a little bit underrated. Um, what's it called? Two sides to every story. I mean that's a very mixed kind of bag. This one, it's got some really great songs, some really terrible songs on it as well. It's kind of, but you know, it's one of these things that you can see very cheaply. Like I think,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for example, in Germany, you could see this record everywhere.
I
It's
saw the RSO, the icon, the red on the corner.
yeah,
The RSO, it's a pig, or it's I don't know which kind of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have so much records I found on the
yeah,
cheap in Germany. Yeah,
yeah. There you go.
those are mid 80s or late 80s repress, I think.
Yeah, possibly, but I think
Yeah.
this one, I don't. I think it was. Oh, okay. No, this is a Japanese. Yeah, it's
Oh,
a
okay.
Japanese press.
Wow.
Interestingly enough. Yeah, interesting. I never sort of much paid attention to this. Yeah, it's
And
from.
And speaking of, sorry, I'm just jumping back to the previous record you were showing. Speaking
Yeah.
of Australian pressing, what's your take on the quality
Well, it
on that?
depends. It's yeah, it depends. Some of them are very well pressed. Some of them are just okay. They, they're usually a little bit unexciting because the Australian press, the standard Australian pressing is very flimsy.
Hmm.
The cover is often quite thin. The records, but I mean, like we make such a big song and dance about what something, how something should be pressed or not pressed. But I frankly, I frankly don't really, I really don't care. I mean, it's not a primary concern of mine, if you will.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like I'm kind of like okay, because there's so much like vinyl is such a fetish for people. It's like they just I feel with some people they're more in love with the object than the music itself, and I'm the opposite.
yeah,
I'm more in love with the music than the object, and I think you know for me having the album on record is not just so I can say I'll have it, but it's also because it enables me to access it anytime I want and just go
yeah.
in my it's my library, like it's not a collection, it's a library, right, rather than anything.
I,
But
I
like,
was
yeah, tell me.
I was say something you don't like to hear, but only 30 seconds, promise, and then never
Yeah,
came
yeah,
back to
tell
the
me.
subject. Grew up in the '90s, listening to the Beatles, and I had the CDs back then, so this was my standard. But the first time I was happy to find an OG UK press mono, I had the feeling, hey, it's another album. I had the feeling of rediscovering the album
Yeah,
since I had a good quality pressing. I just bought an old Marantz receiver with a refurbished turntable with good cartridge, and wow, what an experience! So I'm not
yeah,
an audiophile, but yeah,
I know what you're saying, but uh, yeah, look, for me, in probably 90% of cases, I'm happy about what I'm listening to in terms of like the sound quality. Um, I my system is good enough that I can hear what I often say is my system is not like audiophile or anything, but you can tell when the record sounds bad. Like you can tell it's evident, like because the speakers are very very good and the the cartridge is very very good, so you can pick up the details of what's not good. And very rarely would I just go, oh, this sounds like shit, really, actually. Most of the records I have, they sound decent to very good. It's a
yeah.
range, um, but if I find something that really sounds like, I'll give you an example. I sold my copy of 1999 by Prince. It was a Japanese pressing.
Hmm.
It sounded like shit. Like it was just audible. You put it on turntable and it was just flat. There's nothing in it. There was no life in there. And so I knew straight away. When I find records like that, I know I just get rid of them. I don't keep things just because I keep them because they give me joy. Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
yeah, no, totally got your point. Sangle Sublime, he asked, like, do you have any?
Solo records. I can't remember. Do I have any solo Chilton? I used to, I think, but I don't think I used to have Flies on the Sherbet a while back. I don't have that anymore. I just have the Big Star records. I think the moment, but I do like some of his solo song in Bangkok and things like that. Yeah. Do you know?
And
He's asking you
ah,
if you know the band Big Star.
if I know, no, no, no.
Okay.
I noticed in the you put in the picture a guy with a huge cello.
I
Is
know
that?
that's Henri Texier. That's okay.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Education minute. Okay, so Big Star. Here. Okay. So I don't have any Alex Chilton, but I do have the Chris Bell solo record. Big Star here is a super seminal power pop band from Memphis, Tennessee. And they're led by two guys, Alex Chilton and Chris Bell, who both sang and wrote songs and played guitar. The voice were very complimentary, in the high pitch register. Songs are just incredible. The Ballad of El Gudo, 13 in the Street, When My Baby's Beside Me. I mean, like anthems, really. Like, but the thing is, they never got lucky in terms of sales, and they, ironically, this is called number one record, and very few people knew about this. This happens to be a first pressing, by the way, which you don't come by them very often. I bought this years and years ago, 20 years ago nearly. Very, very, very good. 70s show. That's the song. Yeah, that's the theme song for that 70s show.
Didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they made another record, equally as good, Radio City. And again, with the same kind of crew, minus Chris Bell. But I feel, look, I mean, I think, Romeo, you would love Big Star because they're just a power pop band that really had they had an incredible knack for melody, like a very melodic music, very catchy. Some of the songs are a bit more sort of like a bit more, melancholic and very, there are some songs where you can see that he's pining for something, he's longing for something. The Chris Bell solo records is amazing. That's an amazing record, flat amazing.
What is the connection between Chris Bell and Big Star?
He was in Big Star. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He's in the band there, in the first version of the band.
Sorry for asking stupid questions.
There's Speed of Sound on there, which is just, it's killer. You and Your Sister. Now, I also have the third Big Star record, which is called Sisters Lover, Big Star third, which is amazing as well. But I've got that on CD. I don't have the vinyl version of it. But I don't really, that's fine.
Yeah.
What do people in the chat say about Big Star?
I think Sanglais Sublime knows about the one you just mentioned.
Yeah, the third album. It's got Kangaroo on it, which is super depressing, and Holocaust. There's a song called Holocaust on it, which is like, and it was covered later by this Mortal. Do you know this Mortal Coil?
No.
Okay, so 4AD, which is the label that had the Cocteau Twins, the Dead Can Dance, the Pixies, so on. Yeah. Ivo Watts Russell, the head of 4AD, the label, wanted. I mean, he had this project in mind where he wanted all these bands to collaborate on songs and work together. So it's like a super group sort of thing. And it became this Mortal Coil. And they made like 3 or 4 albums, and It'll End in Tears, which is their first album, I think.
So it's in a way a project like Vince Clarke did with the Assembly, something.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second, because sometimes I can't find records. Most of the time I can, but sometimes I can't.
Yeah, we all have the same issues.
Yeah. So this record is absolutely beautiful. Like, it's sublime. This Mortal Coil. It's called It'll End in Tears, and that record. So it's got the Cocteau Twins. It's got all sorts of groups from that time period. Um, so so Kangaroo there, the first song. That's a song from the Big Star's third record, and it is basically uh, a part of Cindy Talk, part of the Cocteau Twins playing together. So these are bands from the roster. Song to the Siren by Tim Buckley, and that song here, Holocaust. That's a song from Big Star Third, sang by Howard Devoto, the singer from Magazine.
Yeah.
So it was like a project that sort of. But I don't know what I've got into a tangent, but I think I like the versions of the Big Star songs more on this record than on the original Big Star record. That's the point I was going to make. But
Okay.
it's and the man, the logo of my channel is Henri Texier. I don't have to get up for this one because I think I've got one of his records here with me, in the box here in the crate somewhere there. There's an Henri Texier LP if I can find it somewhere or not. I'm sure there was one. So Henri Texier is a French double bassist. I mean, you should listen to it. I mean, I can't describe the sound of Henri Texier because it's too difficult to describe
Yeah, to
for
put in
somebody who's never heard it. So, here, that's the guy from my channel logo, Henri Texier,
Okay.
and the album that I've got on my channel is called Amir, which is it's classic. I mean, for me, I, look. He plays here is how I would describe it. He plays the double bass, so he's got some like very kind of catchy kind of little riffs on the double bass. Then his voice is double tracked, and he doesn't sing lyrics. He just hums word
Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen.
he just hums a melody.
Like how,
Okay,
like Leonard Cohen.
not really. It's
Is that scat or
no, it's not scatting. It's just like he's just humming a little melody without lyrics,
yeah,
and then
humming bourdonner, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then he plays the oud a little bit
Yeah.
on top of it, and it, it's kind of like jazz, but with a strong Oriental kind of fusion flavor, and he does that by himself alone. It does it's him. It's an incredible record. Amir is it's a record that keeps amazing me every time I hear it. So that's why it's been my logo forever and ever. Because
Okay. Is that a
it's sort of
French? Is that a French artist or?
yeah, he's French.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it sort of represents all the music that I love. Like because it's adventurous and it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that Chris Bell died tragically a few weeks after recording his. Yeah, sorry, I'm talking a lot. Though. I'm sorry, Sanglé Sublime. I'm not. It's been how long have we been talking? Nearly 2 hours. Oh my
Nearly
god!
2 hours. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, out of nothing, we we made 2 hours
yeah.
of discussion.
But
But
we
I'm
have,
enjoying it. It's
yeah, me as well.
fun.
It's a pleasure. It's better than writing a comment. Yeah, yeah,
But it's sharing as well. Like,
yeah. It's
have you
sharing.
got any other records that you've got there?
Yeah,
Or
sure. Something a little bit different. We were talking about yesterday on a nice on a weekly live stream with Ian ranking the obscure and Frederick. Frederick Spectrum Archives.
yeah,
He went on stream as well with myself, and he was talking about Don Cherry avant-garde stuff. And right after the lunch today, I grabbed that one, and real life. This is very, I would say, really bad to describe jazz records, but it's very festive. It's very melodic, and
hmm
Coltrane, Don Cherry.
yeah,
I would recommend to a new beginner. I would say, and this
yeah.
is a great pressing as well, but it doesn't really matter. It's the music. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with you're familiar. I don't know what your takes on, let's say, on these two people, Mr. Coltrane and John Cherry.
Well,
What?
I could pull out the
Yeah,
the Don Cherry section of my collection, but we'll be there for half an hour again. But
yeah, yeah,
I think for me, look, in my crate there, just alone, I've got this one there in that's in the crate that sticks. Whereas Brooklyn, this one is very avant-garde. But
yeah,
I've got another one there, which is just a superb record. I've got two more. This one. This is on Black Saint, Italian label. It's called All the New Dreams. Very, very, very accessible jazz. Actually,
yeah. Accessible. Yeah, that's the word I was looking.
little bit free at times, but not super. But this one here is a beast. Symphony for improvisers. I love Don Cherry. I've got a lot of his music. I think he's one of the most essential, um, you know, jazz musicians of his era. I think he's up there. I think he tends to be a bit underrated sometimes. I mean, you talk about John Coltrane. I mean, obviously, John Coltrane is kind of like he's on the Mount Rushmore of modern jazz. Obviously, I mean, you
Yeah,
can't talk about modern jazz without talking about Coltrane. I'd say
the two,
Coltrane, Miles.
the two different people. Coltrane passed away 65, 66. Sorry,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
and
Mm.
I think Don Cherry passed away 95. So he has a much more longer career.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
and very also very prolific and made
yeah,
some amazing records. And I mean, the one you've got there is a lovely record. It's very very
yeah,
nice. For me, if I was going to choose a Don Cherry record that I would always recommend to people, something that's really kind of accessible and really high quality, I would say Bran Rice is the album that I would always point people to because
hmm,
it's amazing. It's kind of an electric jazz album, if you like something like I don't know, Bitches Brew. That's kind of the sound,
yeah,
the sound palette that you find there is somewhat similar. But I mean, it's but these, yeah, I mean, this and it is in Blue Note too, which for I'm sorry, I got a lot of glare because I'm in front of the window. Like when I woke up, it was pitch black, and now it's I've got full sun in my face, unfortunately, because there's a garden door just behind
yeah. No,
me, like that.
wow, beautiful.
The garden, yeah. So obviously it's very bright, and
Don't
it's
don't show too much of your secret garden.
I know, but it's
Yeah,
what am I showing? Just some grass and
um,
some trees.
I'm joking. Yeah,
Um, but no, Don Cherry, Brown Rice is very good. Here and Now is very good. And there's so many records from Don Cherry that you could go on and on about. I mean, jazz. The thing is, I think the main difference between jazz and rock, I will say, is that in jazz they just record everything. Like, like it, musicians making a rock album will go, oh, okay, we'll just write some songs. We might go in the studio, and we'll make like a few albums, whatever.
mm,
With jazz, they just go, oh, wow, here's two chords, let's make an album, and
yeah,
that's what modal jazz is really. I mean, if you listen to Coltrane and Pharoah Sanders and all those sort of like mid '60s or early '60s, mid '60s, modal jazz musicians, they only operated on like a couple of chords, and that all the improvisation comes from very, 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 very little music, in fact. But the talent was to be able to spread that, if you will, minimalism in the number of chords they were using into very, very sort of intricate sequences of notes that they would actually bend into
yeah,
various shapes. And I think when you listen to Coltrane and you think, well, he had to be a genius. The number of albums he produced, high quality albums he produced in that short period of time is staggering. Like the man was he was a god
Yeah.
of the saxophone. It's as simple as that.
It's funny you say Coltrane. This is Magma, and
Yeah,
I recently watched an interview of Christian Vander, the founder of Magma, and he was very into Coltrane, and he has a
and
friend.
Stravinsky and Stravinsky.
Oh
Like
yeah, okay,
yeah, oh yeah, massively into Stravinsky. Two big
yeah,
things for Magma: Stravinsky and Coltrane.
and
Yeah, yeah,
Coltrane,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
Mm.
he has a friend at the very beginning who was very into Eric Clapton, the Cream, and all that stuff. And
Mm.
Vander was way behind. And he refers one time Clapton went to see him in a concert, and they had a chit chat after the gig, and he was asking Clapton or Christian Vander, "What were you listening to when you were into Cream?" And he said, "Hey, Coltrane, of course. It's it's magic." Yeah, and
I
yeah,
yeah.
no,
Carry on.
keep
Sorry.
yeah.
No, no,
Do
no,
you,
no, no, no,
what
carry on.
you, yeah, I have it has to grow on me. It's my father about that copy, so I had to listen like several times. It's not something like very accessible. Uh, I can understand, but when I was young, or when I was 25, when I was 20, I couldn't stand that music.
Yeah, I think their first album
Yeah.
is the one that I'll probably go back to the most. It's the one that's sort of most straightforward for me. The very first one,
Mhm.
the red one. Okay, let's take out some more records. Hang on, where is it? Uh, here, this one. This is a beautiful object too. I mean, like it's got the flaps and everything. You know, like
Yeah.
the yeah. That's their first record, I think, and that is very much very sort of like super accessible. I think compared to the rest of Magma. Uh, and don't you love that cover? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I might keep it out and play it later because it's so good. Yeah.
And
Mm,
And Philips pressing sound
yeah,
really good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, he was. I think Van Der was obsessed with Stravinsky as well. Absolutely obsessed with Stravinsky. He, yeah, equal. I think equally. Coltrane, big influence as well. Yeah, but I think with Magma is such it's such a curious invention. You know, you've got this like made up language, this made up civilization.
Yeah.
You know, planet Kabaya, and then you've got these amazing, like this revolving cast of musicians. Um, you know, like the cream of jazz fusion went to play for Magma. Like it's important for people to realize that this is what happened. Like he got the best musicians he could get his hands on. Yannick Top,
Mhm.
um, uh, my mind is completely scrambled at the moment. Yoshko Sefer, who played with him? Francois Faton Cahen. He had lots and lots of really amazing players with him. And every Magma album has got like this cast of, and that's why the albums are just they're wild, because
Yeah.
it's only a very top quality musician who can play those things because you listen to what they're playing. It's just, like where do you even begin? You know, you go, you know, like you should watch Yannick Top play bass.
Yeah. I know it's yeah.
It's amazing. It's like
Yeah.
um, but I love talking about Yoshko Sefer. He made another band. He founded another band called Zao as well, in the same kind of vein as Magma. Crazy music as well, but you know, again, you know, very skilled. Very. Have you got
Zao.
Zao? Have you heard
No,
Zao?
I know the African artist Zao, but I don't know. Some might be something different.
No, I'm talking about. I'm literally pulling out all my collection today. Zao. Zao is the band from this record that I haven't pulled out forever and ever. So that's Yoshko Sefer there. He was in Magma. Uh, François Fatonkaen was in Magma as well. This guy here, uh, and a lot of them played in and around Magma. Jean-Mi Truong there. So this is jazz fusion, like high grade jazz fusion, but it's Zool, like it's the same music as Magma basically, but more fusion esque. This one here is Kawana. I haven't played forever and ever. It's got Didier Lockwood on violin on this. Didier Lockwood, Yoshko Sefer, Jean-Mi Truong, et François Cahen. Again, like super super. Um, and here's Zhao Z égale 7L.
Okay.
Uh, again with the same cast of players, but that's really jazz fusion kind of, yeah. Zool, which is like the music genre invented by Magma, basically like progressive rock mixed with um, very high avant-garde kind of concepts,
Mm.
and like vocals which have no words. Sometimes they're very just like sort of like wordless vocals. But here, by accident, whilst I was pulling out the Zao thing, I pulled out this record, which will be of interest to you because we come from the same region. It's a record that's interesting.
Oh
This,
yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
you got that?
No, I know that one.
Look,
Yeah.
look at the. It says CSC Montbéliard. That's the town where I was born. Like that's my. I
Yeah.
come from there.
Yeah.
And so this is a record that was, and it's even, in fact, I think even signed by one of the band members, and it's a kind of a medieval prog kind of like, and they all made their own instruments. You look at the instruments that they've got, they just look at
Wow.
this. What the fuck is this? I mean, come on. And that there in the background, it's kind of a harp.
Yeah.
They're all self-made instruments, all recorded in Montbéliard. And it was just there with the Zao because it's WZ together
Yeah.
in that section. Württemberg, yeah, it's because the Montbéliard where I come from, it was the duchy of Württemberg. It was German for a long,
Yeah.
long time and
Yeah.
belonged to the family of Württemberg. So that's what we have a castle in Montbéliard, which is the Château des Ducs de Württemberg. It's
Oh yeah.
very
Yeah.
well known, yeah. Yeah, so it's just so funny. It was just with that together, yeah. It's just very cool.
Yeah. I
Uh,
saw. I saw that record once, or I think I played it. Some guy made of obscure stuffs, and yeah, it rings a bell. I don't have a copy of it though.
I'll, next time you go to Mulhouse, you'll find a copy.
Yeah, I will. As a matter of fact, I will be traveling in 4 weeks now. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be visiting my family early
Where
in
are you
May.
going? To France or anywhere else? Or
Yeah, we'll be flying to Nice because we don't have other choice. We're staying there 2 days, and then flying from Nice to Alsace and staying there with family, friends. Maybe traveling around Germany, maybe Belgium if we get a chance. But the plan is to spend more time. I won't say everything my privacy here, but yeah, with my
yeah.
family.
Is
Yeah,
your wife from France as well, or
yeah,
is she?
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
We've been
yeah.
together. We made 20 years ago. So
Mhm.
we moved together 2 years. Yeah, so we were already married. We already have everything. So yeah,
Yeah,
we moved
yeah.
together. Yeah, and
But
yeah, Magma. Yeah, sorry. Once again,
yeah, no, carry on. Sorry.
I say Magma. It's interesting. We had in France two bands, Prague and Magma Experiment Jazz, and Ange and Magma. They both survived, which is pretty
Where,
interesting.
Ange is from Belfort, from
I know,
from where I come from, nearly.
Frère
Um,
Descamps, ouais.
and in fact, my aunt, when she's now in the 70s, she used to hang out with the Descamps brothers. Like she knew them when she was younger. Yeah, she.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, they were friends basically.
yeah,
So it's just amusing. Just to think how what a small world. But Ange is, I mean. I'm not a fan of Ange personally. It's too symphonic for me. It's too Genesis for me. But
Yeah,
I know you like more of the stuff. I mean, it's you can see I do like some prog. I mean, I've got my record, a Zara record. It's I don't like prog. I don't like a certain type of prog.
I know.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
Canterbury prog. Like for me, that's the apex for me. I just love
yeah.
Canterbury sound.
Just say hi to my friend. Hallo Luca, alles klar. Um, Fred just saw a record that you showed on your stream. The Ossi, what's the African name? Ossidiba,
Osibisa,
Ossibida. Yeah, yeah.
Osibisa.
Ossibisa,
Yeah,
Ossibisa. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. We talked about it very
We
briefly.
we talked about, yeah. So I mentioned your channel. Habe ich deinen Kanal erwähnt. Yeah, so yeah, which I find interesting that Magma and Ange, in a way, they survived. We had Marca circuits, variations, and triangle, and they stopped in a way early 70s. But Magma and Ange, they had a chance to keeping up, and their career span over a lot of decades.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
um, yeah. It's more like with Magma. It's more like it's become more like a cult than a
yeah,
band with
yeah. I know.
medallions and everything. Like
Yeah,
um, it's it's hilarious. I mean, they just, I mean, robes. It's a cult. It's not a band.
yeah.
Don't confuse them with musicians. They
It's like
just
Kiss Army. Uh,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's a very bad comparison, I know, but
I know.
yeah,
Like I can understand that people love Kiss and all that. It's a thing that people talking about Martin Circus, and just under my computer here, got my 7-inch collection. just just
what is that?
talking about
Ah, c'est yeah, je
Je
m'éclate au
m'éclate au
Sénégal.
Sénégal, tout tremblant de fièvre.
Yeah,
Classic stuff. Classic.
yeah,
And I just love when people have left their
yeah,
Jean-Marie Allègre, février 70. Some people have left there because they didn't want their record to be stolen or something, and
yeah.
they
When
brought it back.
when they were partying, everyone
Yeah.
brought over their records, and they had to write a name to be sure that, hey, this is my records.
Mm.
I will make sure that I will be taking back. And yeah, Marta Circus, but they had their first album is very psyche, very I'm not sure if you're familiar with this is one of my favorite album from a French rock band ever. This is Les Variations.
Yeah.
Nador took me
Yeah,
quite a
they're from
time.
Morocco, I think, or they
Morocco,
came.
yeah,
Yeah.
there were Jewish Moroccan people. One is from Paris, and yeah, this they had a chance. Mai 68, they had a chance to get a record deal, and they weren't really supported by the record deal, by the record company. Went to America, recorded another one, but it has everything: Oriental music, blues, um, everything that Led Zeppelin made years after. It's on that one. It's simply beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah. I've still got a little bit of French prog left in my collection there. A few things, Catharsis and Pulsar, and like different like little bands. I've kept them because I can't do anything. Like nobody's interested in buying those things here, and I don't mind the first Catharsis records. They sound like Pink Floyd records, basically. Have you heard them? You know them? The
no, not very.
Catharsis. So you got that here. I've got them here, so they're easy to show you. So I'll just so it's that.
Salut Frédéric.
If you give me a second,
No problem.
I will show you a few French prog albums that I've got there.
18 people are watching. Not too bad.
That I have in shelves. It's so funny. Just pull a few there, just so that you can. Because I know you love prog. So here's my
Yeah,
prog.
I read a very interesting book last summer, written by Émeric Leroy, and Émeric Leroy
Yeah.
is very knowledgeable of what the
Okay.
Canterbury scene, and
I'll pull that. most of the prog that I've got here. Hang on. Okay, we'll do a little prog, a little
Oh,
section of my
now
collection.
now you're talking.
Hameçon.
Hameçon, yeah, yeah.
So that's just a reissue, obviously on Wawa, but uh, it's kind of a weird record to classify. It's kind of psychedelic. It's kind of avant-garde as well. Um, I haven't played for ages, so maybe I'll give it a go. So I got Hameçon. Have you got that? Did you know this, or do you?
Yeah, I find on the internet, yeah, on the
Mm.
playlist. I don't have any physical
This
record.
this is a band also from where I come from. They're from Besançon,
Oh yeah,
traveling. Yeah, they sound like Soft Machine and Caravan,
okay.
but they three guys from Besançon, um, and yeah. So that came out in 1973. Yeah, even the hype sticker tells you a little bit of so traveling. Voici la nuit tombée. Great record. Like that's one that I come back to often enough. It's just organ, drums, and bass basically, and it's very much in the vein of Soft Machine. So I'll talk about Catharsis. Catharsis is a French Pink Floyd basically. That's their first album, I think. Catharsis, which originally came out on Sarava, I think, but my copy is a festival record. So I'm showing some prog here. It's a very unusual thing, but why not? I mean,
Why not?
um, why not? Like we like all music here. So Catharsis, the first one, very much Pink Floyd esque. The second one, probably I like it less than the first one.
Pink Floyd from which era would you
From
say?
sort of like
Metal?
Piper to
Oh my
like the,
god.
the first period, like sort of full of secrets,
Yeah.
maybe obscured by clouds, kind of ish.
Okay.
Um, that's Catharsis as well. Same sound. I mean, really, these are records that I bought like 20 years ago. They were cheap. Like used to go to France and pick them up for a few euros. Like you could buy these for nothing. That's why I've had them. Same for this band, Atoll. I think they're from Metz, maybe Atoll.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they are from Metz.
Yeah.
Renimal. I mean, I haven't played this forever and ever, but I mean, it's not very good or anything. But I'm just keeping it because I don't know. It's kind of an interesting artifact. Why not? And as I said, who would buy these records here? Nobody. So I'm having them. Another. This one is a better record actually. Tercio. That's I think that's the better of the two. Um, um, Again, like sort of symphonic a little bit, but not too symphonic that I don't want to play it. Here's a band that I absolutely love, Clearlight Symphony. This is brilliant. This is Cyril Verdot. Is a French keyboards piano player, and he made just assembled this project. It's yeah, it's electronic and um, there's acoustic piano, electronic piano mixed together, and that it came out on Virgin, and it's related to Gong. Tim Blake plays there
Okay.
from
Yeah.
Gong, Steve Hillage from Gong, and Didier Malherbe. So it's kind of like a Gong sub project, if you will. Cyril Verdot. This one is great. The follow-up is brilliant as well. I think it's really, really worth hearing. Forever Blowing Bubbles, Clear Light. Also the same kind of crew. With David Cross on violin. Yeah, interesting. Gilbert Hartmann from Lad Free. I've got all these records as well. Pulsar.
Yeah.
I think from Lyon, maybe, or somewhere. Lyon. I
Couldn't
think that's Lyon.
couldn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulsar. Very Pink Floyd, very, very, very Floyd-esque. I don't, like I don't listen to those very often. They're just on my shelf there. Here's a band I love. Here, that is fucking killer. Potemkin. So Potemkin, the brothers from Toulouse. Their name was Goubin, Charles Goubin and Michel Goubin, Philippe Goubin. This is a very, very much Canterbury scene record. Like it's French Canterbury 101. Amazing, amazing record. Potemkin Fetus on the Paul label. This is a Tapioca reissue, but it was from the same year, basically. The follow-up, amazing, amazing kind of like, again, Canterbury, Zul, Triton, superb record as well. I'm just showing this very quickly because, otherwise we'll be here forever. Here's a magnificent record, Laurent Thibault, Mais on ne peut pas rêver tout le temps. He was in Magma as well. This is prime French. I mean, I talk about Canterbury scene. I think this is probably the most significant example of French Canterbury prog ever recorded. This one, it's a 10 out of 10. This record, it's not easy to find. I'll give you that. Came out on Ballon Noir. This is an original pressing of it, but with the Henri Rousseau sleeve, amazing, beautiful stuff. And then I pulled that. Oh, here, that's his wife. That was his wife, Laurence Vanet. That was Laurent Thibault's wife. Is Laurence Vanet? This woman here. That's the name there. These are really great records as well. Kind of proggy, psyche records, which never get shown in the VC. Really, I mean, they're not records that you would see very often. And that's also her record, Laurence Vanet. And Laurent Thibault, see?
Yeah.
They were married. And then I've got a few records by Wapasu. Do you know Wapasu?
No.
French prog band, very, very, very. I think you'd love Wapasu. Kind of in the Genesis mold, but the French version, but sort of. Okay,
yeah.
I've even got a test press.
Wow.
Test pressing. Yeah, because it's crypto, and crypto's in Belfort, and you could find them very easily. Yeah, so there you go. There's a few French. My electronic prog is in another section.
Yeah.
I've got some electronic prog as well, but this is just like traditional prog. Hello.
It's cool. I have two people from Alsace in the chat. Salut Joe, salut Francis, salut Pinander. Spectrum.
Yeah. Laurent Thibault is superb.
And I listened to some band from the early 80s, so a new wave, a cold wave, or stuff. I really like the difference. So they are bands, in my opinion, they were influenced by Kraftwerk, and the other more by Joy Division. And I think you once mentioned that one. Yeah.
I like the other one.
The other one,
even more. Yeah.
It's a repress, and I found that record in a store that you mentioned during last stream. It's Ville and Geek, or Ville in Brussels.
Wheels and Geeks, yeah.
Wheels and Geeks, yeah. And they had this amazing Belgium, front 242s and stuff, and this is really good. Early 80s, early 80s stuff.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, we're gonna share. We're gonna share our.
Okay. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is. What is this? It's a.
Okay. Can we do it again? I will just use for the thumbnail if you.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me. I
Yeah,
think it's. I think it's an Australian pressing. Yeah, it's very flimsy. It must be Australian.
yeah.
It's
Okay. Yeah,
and um and it's great because it's the sound, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking
yeah,
about the sound, don't we?
yeah,
Uh, and this one here, but I think I think this one is one of my like that's an all-time favorite post-punk album for me. That's kind of like the perfect mix between Echo and the Bunnymen, U2,
yeah.
a little bit of
Psychedelic furs.
yeah, but
Yeah,
every song on this, like the from like it's I don't know how I don't know how this is not more famous. I think like people always rave about Joy Division and all so on and so forth, but never talk about the sound. This album is, in my opinion, perfect. It's like the moment you put it on the turntable, there's not a moment where you think, "Oh, that's too much," or like that's boring, or like it's. And for me, it was a complete blind buy when I got this. I remember being in one of my local stores, and I was just digging in the bins, and I just looked at this. Never heard of this band before. It just appeared in front of me, and I thought that looks too cool. I just took it home, and I love these surprises when you don't know what you're buying, and then you put it on turntable, and you go, "Wow, that's
yeah,
amazing."
yeah. Blind
Makes
purchase.
you
Yeah,
happy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And do you guys have a lot of bands in Australia? They were influenced by this kind of sound or genre. I know you were talking about a band called Laughing Clowns. Uh,
Mm. Well, it's funny that
yeah,
you mentioned because just under there, I keep some. As I said, I keep my 7-inch collection, but just just to summarize this in a neat kind of, I'm going to show some CDs. Shame. These are when I moved to Australia. This is from 2003, so that's the year I moved here. They released those two things, and I bought them. And you can imagine the wealth of knowledge that there is on there, the
yeah,
booklets alone. But then, yeah, so the first one, Radio Birdman, The Saints, obviously, The Scientists, very important band. Like The Laughing Clowns, I would say the most important, then the Sunny Boys, there towards the bottom. What else? The Moodists, Died Pretty, this band here. That's a fantastic band, this Died Pretty. So there's lots of, like, some of them are, they're lesser known, I would say, and some of them are. But I've discovered so much music, like and bought so many of these records as a result. Like the Sacred Cowboys from this band here, very, very, very cool. So I've got those records. So yes, in other to answer your question, um, there's a lot of post punk in Australia, a lot of post punk,
yeah,
a lot of it, and some of it is very, very, yeah, is seminal stuff. Like you're talking about I mean, the Laughing Clowns is a great example because that's a band which is practically a no wave band from could fit in the no wave kind of box from New York in the late 70s, early 80s, but entirely Australian saxophone.
yeah,
Um, like you, very, very original. Very you. Yeah, I love Australian post punk. I've got a lot of. I could. We could do entire videos on that. I mean, like I've got entire sections of post punk from Australia, but
okay.
we've been talking for 2.5 hours already.
As long as people watching the replay, I will
This could be
answer.
this
Yeah, I
could be
will.
a more regular kind of.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I will
uh,
answer the question Francis asking. Il coûte environ combien ces albums? So he's asking how much the album the price. I think he's asking
but
the yeah.
but what are we talking about exactly, Francis? Because it's de quoi tu parles, mon
Ouais,
ami?
je pense que tu parles des albums de Sound les années 80 qu'on a that we show.
He needs to
Yeah,
make sure his question is more targeted because I don't
yeah,
know what.
yeah. Précise de quels albums tu parles. And okay, yeah, Christopher. Wheels and Gigs and it's a great job with it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know that.
I went to Brussels in 2015, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2015. That's right. And there's a street there with about like 5 or 6 records. I can't
Yeah.
remember. It's a long street,
Yeah.
and there's Vils and Geeks there, and there's I can't remember the names of the shops now because it's been so long. But there's a really great store with like half of it is comic books, and upstairs has got all these also amazing. But I remember being blown away with Brussels. So many great record stores.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, just opposite Vils and Geeks, there was another store with like a painting on, like I think a Bob Dylan figure on the wall.
Yeah.
Do,
Could
do
be.
you
Yeah. Could
remember?
be. Could
That
be.
was a great store too.
I was there in 2021, but I only for about a couple of days. Don't remember all the details, but I remember Wheels at Geeks. I found so I find that record, for instance, and other
Yeah,
electro. Yeah.
the sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. These
So
are
yeah, so if you are talking about the sound and I don't know ratio, yeah, I was paying like 20, 25, so 25, 20, 25, 20, 25 euros, 25 euros.
I've had these for 10 years, so I don't know. I can't remember what they
Yeah,
cost.
I would say probably, yeah, 20, 20, 25, 25 euros, je dirais.
Mm, yeah.
I
Whereas,
reply in French since he doesn't speak English.
mm,
Some placebo. I don't have any placebo records on my collection. This is not
are you
something.
talking? I think they're talking about the Belgian placebo,
Ah,
not
yeah,
the Brian Molko sort of goth emo, uh, which I also like actually. Um, Placebo from England, but the placebo from Belgium is talking about this here. Uh, let's get some more records out. Talking about this band here.
Hey, hi, salut, ça va? Vinyl Addiction is here.
There. It's talking about
Good to see you.
Placebo 73, Ball of Eyes, and this one. These are the 3 Placebo classics. My favorite being this one, 73. Super funky grooves. It's led by a guy called Marc Moulin. You know what?
Telex, Telex,
You
yeah.
know what? My face is just completely inundated with lights. I'm going to see if I can move somewhere else. Sadly, away from the records, but I can't see anything. Otherwise, my face is completely. Are we okay? Sorry.
Yeah, no
I'm,
problem. No worries.
yeah, no, super cool band. I'm sorry, people watching. I'm now away from the records, but Boys Next Door, yeah, on the compilation, yeah. Big Star must know which Australian rocker was in the first band. Yeah, Nick Cave, obviously, was in the Boys Next Door. Nick Cave, and I think Roland Howard as well was. Rue du Midi, Bruxelles. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Rue du Midi, correct. I remember that. Yeah. No, they're not originals. They're represses. Fred, no, they're not. They're not. They're not originals. But it's okay. I mean, you know, like I've got. I don't. I'm not a snob. I know that I can't. If I was just going to gun for originals all the time, you know, I would have only you know, half of my collection or something. But it's okay. You've got to be prepared to live with those choices.
Okay, the next one is a band I'm very into right now. This is the Strobes. I found that record in the UK, and it's a folk band. Some say it's a prog band, but the first 2 albums are really folky. Yeah, it's the part of that generation of bands like Fairport Convention, Family. Don't know if you are familiar with it. They had
Yeah,
two singers, and they made an album with Sandy Denny, released years after, and then went to more progressive, yeah, progressive folk, starting from the Witchwood album. And Hero and Heroine is often as regarded as the best one. This is the very first one, and I'm really happy. It's all this vibe, this ambiance from the late 60s in the UK. I really like this one. And talking about Fairport Convention, probably my favorite album of by Fairport Convention, Legion Leaf. Um, yeah, they were starting doing covering Emmett Rhodes, Bob Dylan songs on their first album, and ironically they had this American producer Joe Boyd. He worked with Soft Machine with Pink Floyd, and he said, "Hey, you guys, you have to assume your Britishness." So they get in Dave Swarbrick's a fiddle player in the band. Sandy Denny joined the band, and this is an absolutely I really like how does the song called? Matty Groves, yeah, very middle age,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Matty Groves
Matty
is
Groves. That I could hear that riff, that pattern for just for the rest of the days. And oops, sorry. And yeah, this is. I found that record in Bath. I was in the UK for yeah, a couple of days in
mm,
November, and I found that one UK press. So really happy.
yeah.
Uh,
It's
yeah.
like to think that they've released 3 albums in 1 year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
when she
what
joined
what
me,
what we did on the holidays
days and half breaking.
and I have Bricking
Yeah,
and this one 1969.
yeah,
To think that they've released 3 of these albums in 1 year is just staggering. I mean, when you think about
yeah,
the level of genius that these people. I mean, you've got Richard Thompson and Sandy Denny. I mean, these are, like they're, they're unbelievable musicians. I mean, and um, Dave Sorbrick, who was in the band.
Martin Lemble, I
Yeah,
think the drummer who passed away during the car
yeah.
accident. Yeah,
But they were just so prolific and incredible. But I think I'm with you on the fact that Legion Leaf is probably the
yeah,
best one that they released. I mean, Unhalf Bricking is very close. I mean, I'd say my all-time favorite song by Fairport is probably "Who Knows Where the Time Goes," because
mhm,
to me, that's the quintessence of Sandy Denny, and what she could do with her voice. It's so like it's such an epic song, like it just unravels
yeah,
slowly. Um, and I was saying to Fotheringay, that band
yeah, yeah. You were
with
mentioning them. Yeah,
yeah, like Banks of the Nile. It's just such an amazing song. I keep and I listen to that and I think, wow, this for progressive folk that they were just at the forefront of things that they just really understood. You know.
yeah. Don't have it. I didn't brought any family, but I really like this band as well.
Mm.
So music in a doll's house, and one last album. This is yeah, this is a classic. This is not something very
Yeah.
obscure. Yeah, this is Love,
Yeah.
1967.
Mm.
Very psyche. They never toured in Europe. I think they just wanted to stay closer to the to this hype that was happening in back then. Released on the Elektra label, very iconic. And
I'll
yeah,
tell you my greatest uh, gig regret. Like stupid. I arrived in Australia in 2002, and um, Arthur Lee played Forever Changes in full
yeah,
in Melbourne in
and he
2000,
passed away 6 months after.
in 2003, I think, or four. I
Yeah,
think it was one of the first years I was here. And I had no one to go with, and I don't know. I was just new to the city, and I don't know. I was just not confident or something. But I, I passed, and I should have gone. I could have gone. There were tickets and everything. I'm really kicking myself. I didn't go and see it because it played the whole of the album, like
Yeah.
the whole of the album. Yeah, it was. But recently, I saw Calexico play live in Melbourne, and they played "Alone Again," and it sounded like Love was playing in front of us, which was good. It's
Yeah.
like a mini version of it, yeah. But
Yeah. And more again. Yeah. Alone again and more again. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
yeah, "Alone Again" or the first song, the very first song. But yeah, such like that Love album. It's like what I was saying about the sound before. There's not a moment on that album when you think
It's dull.
it's everything is absolutely 100% so
Great.
high
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah. A house is not a motel. That's fucking brilliant. That song.
Yeah.
A house
Yeah.
is not a motel.
Yeah.
But like it's interesting with the Doors and Electra. It was Arthur Lee that introduced Jim Morrison
Yeah.
to and made and the Doors became so much more famous than them. Like it's just yeah.
Yeah. And
But
they
I
had
think
another great bands
yeah,
on the label. They had the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, Tim
mhm,
Buckley,
yeah,
Rhinoceros, or also, yeah, to name a
yeah.
few. Yeah.
Oh, Tim Buckley is such
Yeah.
I mean, like it's incredible. I mean, the catalog of like these albums in between, like yeah, like Hello Goodbye and Happy Sad and Lorca, which is my personal
Oh,
favorite, Lorca, Star Sailor. All
yeah.
these albums, just such a, genius, absolute
Yeah.
genius. Like I don't, and the people who have not discovered Tim Buckley yet, it's you couldn't get a higher recommendation on today's stream than Tim Buckley. Is for me just essential artist, vital. In fact, we talked about this Mortal Coil before with the Big Star story and um, Ivo Watts Russell, the guy who ran 4AD, is responsible for reintroducing Tim Buckley into the British psyche because of these albums, because he's obsessed with Tim Buckley. So it's a nice way of looping back to what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
But I think we've been going for 2 hours 47
Yeah.
minutes.
We will be
Uh,
wrapping up.
we'll be wrapping up soon because I've got stuff to do as well today.
Yeah.
Um, But no, it's been. Sorry, talk too much and pull out all these records, and I mean, it's probably a bit too.
C'était l'idée, hein?
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was the idea behind.
yeah, but I hope people didn't think I was trying to hog the conversation too much. It's a teacher in me. I have to talk. But no, it's nice to interact with you, to exchange with you. It's great because obviously you're passionate about music and we can and you're open-minded, which is good, so there's
Yeah, I
a lot
don't
of
have that experience, that level as you or Stunty. You are playing in another league. But I'm
mm,
curious about it. I'm 38 years old, but it's not like I'm sticking to the music I was listening to when I was 16. It's not about that. I'm really keen about discovering. Now I moved to another country, so can discover local bands, other influence, and it's a never-ending journey.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's the thing that you got all most people would just stick with the music that they've heard when they were teenagers,
yeah,
and it
14,
stops there.
18. That's it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then you got people like us who went, oh, okay, I like this, but there's so much more stuff there. Why
yeah.
don't I discover this other stuff? What, and it's great because there's this whole community of people who, I mean, look, I've not always been very kind when I've spoken about you know certain sections of the VC, and that's because I sort of tend to expect more than
Of the French VC.
no, but no, what I would say is this. It's like, you got entire channels dedicated to just people talking about the Beatles, for example.
Yeah,
and I get the Beatles are important. I get that people love the Beatles, but I feel like, you know, sort of
You're
sharing your passion. You're sharing your passion for this band, but you're not expending. There's no expansion at all. You know, like
yeah,
it's like it's like eating the same meal 3 times a day for the rest of your life. You know, there's no. And look, whilst I can understand that people love the Beatles and they want to talk about the Beatles all day long, and that's their thing, and this is their right. They've got the right to, you know, you can do whatever you want as long as you're not, you know, you're not doing anything criminal. But I think that it's so. I just find it so limiting, and you know, for me, when I watch someone, when I talk to someone, I really want the depth of, you know, the breadth and the depth of musical, you know, curiosity, at least, you know, like
yeah,
it's this, there's so many channels that I just can't watch because there's no depth at all. It's just that, you know, it's there's nothing, they don't go beyond a certain, and it's a shame, you know. And just because they've got music, they have music which is on the physical support of vinyl, then they join the vinyl community, which I've got
yeah.
a problem with that name in the first place, because, you know, like, it's music, you know,
Mhm.
and that's the thing, that people fetishize the object of vinyl, like, you know, and it's sort of like the music almost comes secondary. That you've got a first pressing of the Beatles that makes you, you know, that enables you to say that, oh, I've got, you know, what about all the rest of the music that you're not listening to that you could access and
Yeah,
so easily accessible, you know,
spending
like,
20 years of finding the dark side of the moon and expecting to find a better copy the week after to have a
I
better
don't,
experience. Don't see the point. Don't
like
I?
I, 10 copies of Dark Side of the Moon some people have, or
Okay,
whatever.
I have 4 copies of Dark Side of the Moon, but I
It's
stopped. I stopped.
mm,
I have 4 copies. I have the French press, a UK, Canadian, and I think I
mm.
have three. I stopped there. I wouldn't spend my lifetime finding 45, 50 copies of it.
For me,
Th- yeah,
my philosophy is this: once I've found a copy that I find is suitable sounding for
yeah,
me,
yeah,
that's it. Stop there.
yeah,
If it's a reissue, that's fine. If it's a
yeah,
first press, that's fine. If it's like a later repress, it's fine. I mean, I don't have a criteria in my head saying, "Oh, I have to own a first pressing UK of this." That's not my criteria. My criteria is, what can I afford that sounds good enough for my system, which is going to enable me to listen to that record correctly. You know, if that's the reissue, then that's a reissue. That's fine. I'm not I don't think I've got the means to be precious about this. I don't think I'm not rich or anything. I'm not. I just want to be able to enjoy. But I also don't understand people who buy. I mean, it's their money. But as we said, people buy 10 copies of the same record. I don't understand. I don't get it. It's just that I don't intellectually understand it. I think, you know, you could have 9 other records that you don't know anything about that are
yeah.
exciting and cool.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
You know, like, I don't understand. I mean, but it's to each their own. I mean, people have their own, you know, ways of finding happiness. That's fine. It's their money. I mean, it's not my money. They're not offending me. I just don't really relate to it. That's all. I mean,
Personally, I don't care about channels who only talk about the Beatles because some are doing very, very well. I think Parallelogram Auction is a great channel when you want to learn about the Beatles. But there are channels like you, like Dom Seeking a Thread. I don't know if he still is on, and we are here. And sometimes when it takes one person stumble upon your channel, made the discoveries, and they say, "Hey, thank you," uh, and it makes your day, makes your day.
I mean,
So
you look at someone like Stanty. I mean, who is in a league of his own, really. I mean,
yeah,
you could say, because of his life history and who he's encountered, and, you know, like, the exposure to some music that he got very early on and everything. And look, I very hard I respect him. I respect his
yeah,
knowledge, you know, and what he does is vital for the vinyl community. It's just, you know, turning people onto other shit than just the regular stuff that they would be listening to. But the people who also, I think the people who follow him are open-minded enough to actually just get, oh, okay, this is a, oh, here's an avant-garde record from like Uruguay from,
Yeah, yeah.
1973. You've got to be open-minded enough to
And I think he's a little bit, as you said, he's a league on his own. So I think
Mm.
he takes some intermediate steps.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And for
Someone with
me,
29,
yeah,
29, 28, 21 will listen to the Beatles or the Stones. You won't say, "Hey, go to Stunty." It won't
no,
work. Yeah,
no. And this is the thing,
yeah,
like it's only for people who have already that sort of level of
yeah,
confidence that
yeah,
they're not going to get lost in the, and like, and I'll watch him casually. I'd never really stay any more than like 15-20 minutes. I just go to just interact a little bit, and then and but I love talking to him
yeah,
directly because he's a very interesting guy, and
yeah. Very
he's got
humble. Yeah,
some really, like we've chatted for hours for different topics, and and at least he's got opinions. He's got something. Like, this is a problem. Like, a lot of VC channels is just like there's no real editorial line. There's no
yeah,
just it's just, there's no sort of a you know. And the other thing is like, you know if it's to show records, just to say you've got records, it's also missing the point. You want to bring something to the table and say, okay, well, I think this is a good record because
yeah,
for these elements, or and if you like this, you'd like this, or if you like these things, you'd like this, like, so I think it's a good means of turning people onto music, but provided that the people are open-minded enough to actually follow you. Like, I doubt that. I mean, I've been doing this for more than 10 years. I've got, you know not even 3,000 subscribers. It's really like a very small fraction of
yeah.
YouTube.
It's not about that. It's
Yeah,
more about the quality, the exchange,
but
having. Yeah, I would say something very bad. I really like Rachel. She's a great person. Of course, if I go to Rachel, I will gain 10 subs. But the chance that these people will watch my channel, will stay on my channel, will I will have good interaction with. Not sure, not sure. It's nice to have a lot of to have a lot of views. It's because it's a matrix. But at the end of the day, if you post a video and only 20 people watch and only two comments,
yeah,
and you have 1,000 subs, what's the
yeah,
point?
and that's exactly precisely why I've never, you know, try to sell myself out any more than what the videos that I make. I make videos, okay? I post them. There's no publicity, there's no social media, there's no
Yeah,
nothing. And I think, okay, well, the people who find me will find me one way or another. It'll be word of mouth. And you're right, these are more genuine connection, because you could go on shows that are much bigger than you, and try to appear and gain people that way. But that's never really been my thing, like,
yeah, me
it's
either.
it's like, if anything, I always go to shows with people who've got less subs than me. So I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm effectively not gunning for, like, if you really want, like, if you really want exposure, you need to go on the big channels, like, Michael 45, or like
yeah,
that. That's where you get the exposure. um but then, like, you also have to appeal to the people by showing what they want to see as well. I mean, I guess that's but I love that. I mean, I post a video, I'll get like 30-40 comments. That's brilliant. That's all I want. I don't have the time to answer more comments. It's great. I'm happy with that, and I'm sure it's the same for you.
yeah,
You probably get like the same amount of comments, even though you got less subscribers. It's
yeah,
funny because
yeah,
my French channel has got 270 subs. My English channel, English speaking channel, has got 2,800. So, like, I've got 10 times more.
yeah,
But pretty much get the same amount of comment on each video. It's amazing. Like it's kind of, you think, what's the point of having 2,000 subs? You get the same, just about the same amount of. It's true, because the people that I'm connected to in France are more like they're
Yeah.
more ready to comment on my videos. I find that amazing. Like every time I just go, it's the same number of comments. It's amazing. Like
Yeah, and these people are really interesting, and they should have more. I think more place or more spot. You have a great community of people in France. Yeah.
yeah.
So hey, I think that's I will
2 hours
be.
for 59. Yeah, we're gonna crack the 3 hour mark.
Yeah,
Wow.
right
Woohoo.
now. Here we go. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you everyone for tuning in. Replay available. I will rewatch it. I will put it down. All the names that you gave. I think my playlist is it's grown like wild. And hey, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
That's okay. We good?
Some yeah, and
Always happy to, if I've got time. I mean, I'm on holidays at the moment, so well, I've got time to invest. That's good.
so you plan to do a live stream on to host a live stream on your French channel, right? During the holidays.
Maybe both. Maybe on the front end. I've never used StreamYard before, so I don't know how it works, but I presume it's easy enough
Very
to
simple.
run streams through it. Yeah,
Write me privately. I can. Yeah, it's very easy. I
yeah.
would say
Um,
play around a couple of times, like off, like don't stream actually a private video, and you will see it's very
yeah.
easy.
And I'll once we finished it. If you finish this chat there, I'll give you my contact, if you, because you don't have my contact details or anything.
Yeah,
So
I will
I'll
end the stream and stay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'll stay. Okay, take care,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Happy Easter weekend. Bye bye.